Hey, you beautiful podcast listeners. Seriously, you folks are the best. We don't tell you that enough, but you are. And we couldn't do this without you, and we couldn't have a podcast if it weren't for our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Right now, you can save up to $7,500 on a mini-split ductless system or a high-efficiency heat pump combo with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. I know those are some fancy terms, but what it really means is they're going to make sure you're comfortable in your own house. And get this, they even take care of that rebate paperwork for you. Visit standardheating.com to lock in your deal and enjoy the show. And seriously, you guys are the best.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
I hope one day that we get rid of daylight savings time. Thank you. Mainly so at some point in my daughter's life, I'd like to say to her, I'd like to go, hey, you know what we used to do? In the spring, we will move the time forward an hour, and then in the fall, we will move it back an hour. And she'll go, why? And I'll go, I don't know. Nobody knew. We did that our whole lives. Nobody liked it. We just kept agreeing to it.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
Trying to prepare myself for a live broadcast.
Well, Fridays are tough. Sometimes Fridays you walk in here and the first thing you say after you insult my body type and challenge me for poor food choices and call me fat and stuff like that. Sometimes even before that.
Get to the point, Tubby.
Exactly. Which is a regular occurrence.
Fridays,
it's different because almost always the first thing you do is you kick the door open and say, I don't care. I want to go home.
Right.
It's Friday. I don't want to do this. So I'll try and, anything I can do to get you going.
You're correct. I'm a little extra pissy. I just want it effing over with. When I walk in Friday, I'm a lot more rude to you, and you don't deserve any of it. You're right.
This is a stupid job. You're stupid.
Yes.
I hate everything.
Right. That is my vibe usually. And then as we get cooking, some of that negativity washes clean off of me, and by the end of the program, I'm in a wonderful mood. We welcome you to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. We welcome every damn buddy. It does feel pretty nice to be only one broadcast away from taking a couple days to ourselves. We'll take her step by step, Cubby, and we'll get there.
Don't forget.
What?
The shortened weekend. That messes some people up.
Daylight savings time.
Yep.
Are you pumped?
It's easier than ever, right? Now you don't have to. I think I changed 2 clocks. Everything else kind of does it on its own.
Yeah, okay. Stove, and that's about it.
Right? All right.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll get a heads up from the wife on this. I'm not the best at following these different little gimmicks.
The clock in my car is finally going to be correct.
There you go.
Okay, it picks it up from your phone?
No, I never changed it from the last time. Yeah.
I see what because you got a new vehicle not too long ago, so I thought you meant it just hooks up and then it does it on its own. But no, you just never changed.
No, I was too lazy.
It was funny because, Nick, when your wife was in, who, by the way, before you say anything, I've known her for decades. But she was in studio yesterday.
Yeah,
she was.
Oh, right.
And she noticed the clock in here is an hour. I never look at the wall clock. And so it'll be.
No,
right
I never look at that clock either, but it's an hour off.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you're saying by the end of the weekend when we come back, this clock will be correct?
It'll be right for a few months.
All right, good. We'll get there. By damn, we will.
It is amazing how seriously some people take daylight savings time. Like, it's a huge deal to them. To me,
I don't know those people.
Oh, yeah. To me, it's just kind of like, oh, all right, yeah, lose an hour, gain an hour, whatever, move on with my life.
Okay, I don't know those people. I hang around with a crowd. We just like to quote old Harrison Ford movies back and forth.
I think they're making those big petitions to get it changed or whatever. I don't care.
I would be in favor of getting rid of it. I would.
Me too.
Because I've always struggled, for no good reason, in keeping up with it.
Yeah, you always kind of have to, right, it's tough to remember exactly when it is and wait, which way do we go? I mean, spring forward, fall back. I figured that one out at this point.
It's ridiculous that I've spent my entire life struggling with the concept, but I have.
And if you've got friends that live someplace where they don't do the change, trying to convert, well, wait, when is it safe to text or call, that kind of thing?
So forgive me if this is a stupid question, but if we ridded ourselves of daylight savings gimmicks, would we not see more daylight later in the winter?
It depends what one you would pick.
Okay, well then forget it. But
Well, the only time it really affected me, and I'm not saying like, oh my gosh, my life was ruined, but it really affected where I had to think about it would be when I worked overnights. You know, work overnight on the weekends, like I'd have a overnight shift here or back when we were at the Edge, trying to figure that out. And then when they'd figure out who scheduled it, because sometimes they wouldn't put the new time on there.
Oh.
And so stuff like that would get a little confusing.
how long did you do overnights in radio? Not long.
Weekend. It was weekend overnight.
Yeah, I remember it was weekends.
Yeah, not too long. And
okay. So you never got to the point where you were cracking up?
No. Because you're right. Some of those overnight guys, you know, back when there'd be somebody in studio.
Right, live human beings.
Doesn't
yeah.
exist anymore.
Right.
I would say maybe 6-7 months.
A lot of them came into it with some mental shortcomings.
There was a couple, maybe.
But some of them came into that gig relatively normal, and by the time their run was over, they had completely cracked up.
There was one guy in particular, and I do miss him because he was just, you never knew what you were going to get with this guy. He was the regular overnight guy for a long time. Do you remember Brian?
Yes, of course I remember Brian.
Yeah, that was a silly question.
We became friendly. We actually became friendly for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. He was a really fun person to work with.
Yeah.
But we were on our way back we had like a bar promotion, me and another intern, and we were both interns at the time. And I'd never they wouldn't, back then it's like, oh, you can't go in the studio. You know, you're an intern. You're not allowed to go in there.
Don't bother the talent.
Yeah, back then it was like so douchey.
Right.
And so
These days, a salesperson would walk in and interrupt this show if there was an opportunity to make a few bucks.
That's true.
Right.
And by the way, which obviously we need.
Yeah.
But so we're on our way back, and we were coming from, maybe like the Lamplighter or something. You know, it was a decent enough drive.
It's you and the overnight guy, Brian.
Well, Brian's on the air.
Oh.
And so we're listening to him.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I really enjoyed him. I thought he was very good on air.
He was clever.
He was fun. Oh, very funny guy. You know, he had his own kind of thing. And so...
by the way, this is not Brian Oak or any other Brian.
No. It's killing me. I can't remember his last name.
I think I remember it, but go ahead.
Okay, so we're driving in, and all of a sudden, dead air. There's nothing. And, you know, kind of like we're checking our radio. You know, nothing works ever. So I'm like, oh, no. I think there's dead air. And so we're driving. It's like 20 minutes into the drive, still dead air. We get here.
Yeah.
And
that's a lot of damn dead air.
Oh, I know. And so we're kind of panicked, me and this other intern, and she had gone to Brown. So I thought, okay, we'll be all right.
She'll figure it out.
Yeah, we went into the studio. I'm thinking, did he die? And so we get in there. There's nobody around. I didn't know what to hit. And I said, hey, you got to put something on the air here. And she was too nervous. I'm like, well, don't you know how to operate this thing? And she did. And she just, like, completely froze. So I just started hitting buttons. And eventually, I won't forget, it was Smashing Pumpkins. There was a CD in there, and I hit that. And then Brian...
That's a shame.
Yeah. And
Missed
Brian,
opportunity there.
Yeah.
all of a sudden, races in the studio.
Yeah.
And he was...
At this point, 25 minutes of dead air.
Right.
Yeah.
And he hears the music. I think it woke him up from whatever drunken stupor he was in. And he gets on the air. He's like, hey, yeah, sorry about that. I was in the bathroom with a novel. I thought, what a great recovery.
You got grabbed by a good book, huh?
Did he fall asleep on the toilet?
I don't know. I don't know where he was.
Some of them abuse drugs.
That was my impression. I don't know that that's
Some of our overnight people way back in the day abused drugs, Ashley.
And you remember, he was a flamboyant dresser.
He was.
So he was all dressed kind of goofy.
There was no reason for him to spend that much time on his wardrobe to sit or stand in an empty radio studio from midnight to 4 a.m. or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
But he dolled himself up. I
was so terrified. And the boss we had at the time was a tyrant. And he was up all weird hours.
He was a prick, is what he was.
And so I thought somehow I was going to get yelled at. But I'd never been in the studio. I didn't know what to do. And I just got lucky. I hit the right button and the CD played, and that was that.
He was an obsessive prick, the boss, back then. I think I remember the guy's last damn name, and we're talking about near 30 years ago.
Oh, yeah, because this was when I started in 96. I had maybe been here 2 weeks at the time.
What the hell is this? Got a text here from Eastbound at Sundown. Jesus. Was his last... I think this is I think this is a joke, but now I'm fearful of saying this last name in case it was really him. Don't worry about it.
Well, he was on air. He'd probably be all right.
Eastbound at Sundown Jesus says, was his last name Piccolo? Wasn't Brian Piccolo? Wasn't he a Chicago Bear that died of cancer in 19...
No idea.
Nope, not him.
Brian Piccolo. Somebody watched the Retro Movie Channel recently. What was the name of that movie? Brian's song. Brian's song. No, I don't think it was Brian Piccolo from the movie Brian's song.
He did afternoons and then even nights for a while at the Edge.
Then we had the overnight guy that carried with him wherever he went a massive, big, fat, thick book. And when I first saw it under his arm as he walks around the hallways here, I thought maybe it was an encyclopedia. And he liked to stay versed on different words so he could sound intelligent on the radio. Because I'll tell you what, when I first got hired into this miserable business, my mother bought me an encyclopedia. And she's always been big on words. She loves to play crossword puzzles. She loved to play Boggle. Josh, did you ever play Boggle?
I'm familiar, but I've never played it.
Crossword puzzles. What's that word game that old folks play?
Scrabble.
Scrabble. So she always has wanted my brother and I specifically to have a better vocabularies. To this day, for Christmas, she'll give me a book of words that this and that. So my mother bought me an encyclopedia. So when I saw it under this guy's arm, an overnight guy here at the radio station years ago, I thought that's what it was. Hey, he must be brushing up on some words for... It was the encyclopedia of porn!
Oh,
now,
weird.
A to Z, every movie that had been made, every XXX hardcore movie that had been made between the dawn of time and 1995. And there were pictures, and he would page through it and ask me, have you seen this one? Have you seen that one? This same guy wore swim trunks to work. Swim trunks. Tiny, not Speedos, but short little, like 1981 OP. Does anyone remember the brand OP?
Yeah.
A grown man wearing swim trunks. He sat on a hemorrhoid pillow.
Yep.
And he was just... His appearance was unsettling.
He looked like Shrek a little bit.
He looked kind of like the cliche dude that would be lurking at an amusement park, lurking around to possibly snatch up one of your children.
Do you remember the other notable thing about him?
No.
Ashley Earmuffs. He's one of the two gentlemen I caught jerking off at work.
Oh, that makes total sense, Josh.
One of the two. And that one, as he sat on a hemorrhoid donut, was way more disturbing.
Oh, I bet.
Scary.
People are still guessing the last name of this Brian character. Griffin.
No, not Griffin.
So, this dude with the encyclopedia of porn under one arm, hemorrhoid donut under the other, wearing swim trunks to work. Never really got to know him terribly well. He was the overnight guy. I'd see him in passing.
I got to know him pretty good.
You did?
Yeah, we worked similar schedules.
Was he a friendly enough guy?
Yeah, he was, but he was always unsettling to be around because he just kind of had that vibe of a creep, like you described.
He did offer me to borrow his encyclopedia of porn a couple times.
That was nice of him.
You can go ahead. You can borrow this. Maybe it was a little sticky in some places. I never knew him very well, except, like I said, I worked mornings. He worked overnight, so we'd see each other walking in and out of the studio. One morning, woke up to a massive snowstorm, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to get my car out of the garage, let alone from Hamel to Minneapolis. At the time, I was living in Hamel. So when I woke up for the morning show, I called this dude who was in studio, working overnights, and I said, hey, man, when everyone else from the morning show shows up, tell them I don't know if I'll be on time. I don't know if I can get there at all because of the weather. And he said, I tell you what, dude. And by the way, it's not Brian Boitano. Dude says to me, he's live on the air. He says to me, tell you what, I'm going to come pick you up. Where do you live? And I said, What are you talking about? You can't come pick me up. You're live on the radio. He goes, oh, I'll just, I'll play Stairway to Heaven. He wasn't really that concerned about his on-air show. Suddenly, his number one concern was getting me to work, and we didn't even know each other. He said, no, I'm not worried about just where do you live? I'll pick you up. And I said, that's ridiculous. Just tell the... And he goes, no, I'll come get you. And I said, dude, you drive, because it was true, you drive a Volkswagen Rabbit. How are you the best option to come from Minneapolis to Hamel and pick me up? But he was willing to try. I talked him out of it. I said, just stay there. I believe I actually did make it in later, but for him to offer... He wasn't driving Gravedigger or America One, okay? He was driving a Volkswagen Rabbit.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Maybe he's going to jerk off at work a few times. But, yeah, he'll pick you up if you need it.
Brian Dennehy, no. Brian Dozier, no.
Nope.
All right, what else is going on?
I wonder what he's up to. Brian was very, very good. And
he was funny.
Are you still in Boitano, or?
No, well, he obviously, did he win maybe a medal of some sort?
I think he did at some point.
Okay, one more story about overnight guys here from the old days, and it's about this Brian guy, who I became friendly with towards the end of his run here. I was working on the morning show at the time. This is before Cubby and I started what will go down in history as probably the greatest comedy duo in radio history. I was working on a different show, and Brian called me one night, 9, 10 o'clock at night, and he said, hey, man, I just wanted to talk to you real quick about your coworkers. And I said, yeah, what about it? And he said, the one dude you're working with, Donnie. And I said, well, yeah. I'm not trying to freak you out or anything, but I think he's going to kill you.
What?
And I said, huh? I said, I know Donnie. I work with him every day. No, dude, you think you know Donnie. But, he and I were talking the other day. I just got the vibe from the guy. I got a vibe. I got a bad vibe, and I think he's trying to kill you.
Was this someone you were on the morning show with at the time?
Yeah.
Huh.
That's terrifying.
And I said, you got a vibe. I got a vibe. We were just having a casual conversation.
Was it the skin tag guy?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because that guy had a vibe about him, too.
Yeah. And I said, tell you what, Brian, I appreciate your concern for me, but I'm a big boy now. I can handle myself. But, hey, I'll get back to you and let you know if anything's going on between me and Donnie, but I think everything is going to be cool. And everything was cool. Freaky phone call to get.
Yeah.
I think he's going to kill you. Was it Brian Cranston?
No.
That'd be so cool.
How cool would that have been, though?
Was it former WWE superstar Flying Brian Pillman?
No, that's not it either.
Brian Adams, the guy who sang Summer of '69.
Talented individual.
Former Oklahoma Sooner and Seattle Seahawk Brian Bosworth.
Boz.
I love the Boz.
Everyone's trying to guess who this overnight Brian was from 30 years ago that Josh and I enjoyed so much. So far, you're 0 for.
Somebody guessed, was it former Chicago Bears linebacker Brian Urlacher?
No.
That would have been cool, too.
That would have been nice.
Yeah, I can't imagine any of, outside of Boitano, I can't imagine any of those other Brians dressing the exact same way as the Brian we knew.
Do you want a couple of jokes that I found on social media? You want me to throw them your way?
I love jokes.
I was on the Chive yesterday. I do like to hang out on that website. The Chive. There's college girls in their underwear. Sure.
I bet that's the number one website you go to.
I do.
Chive.
Spend a lot of time there.
Yeah.
Like I said, there are college girls in their underwear. But also plenty of other fun articles to mess around with. And one subject they brought up on that website, there was a couple things that grabbed me yesterday. Number one was a conversation topic. If you have just 10 seconds to ruin a first date, what would you say? You have just 10 seconds to ruin a first date. What would you say? And then folks who hang out at the Chive left their comments, left their ideas, how to ruin a first date in 10 seconds. There were two that One that really cracked me up, I wanted to share it with you. Okay, if you have 10 seconds to ruin a first date, what would you say? One chiver, I think is how they put it, answered this way. You say to your first date, how many meters away would you say that school is? And the other, does anyone know where you are right now?
Oh, jeez.
That would be absolutely terrifying to hear.
Like, is there anyone that knows that you're out with me? Anyone?
Yes, everybody.
Is there anybody that would miss you by any chance?
Ashley, did you ever do that move where you might have a friend be also at the bar that you're meeting a new guy at or something?
No, I probably should have, but
I've been the phone call where I've had a girlfriend say, hey, call me at this particular time. Mm-hmm. And so if they'd say, I mean, this is pre-text, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they'd have an out. Like, oh, I got to go. That was my boss. I got called into work or whatever, if they needed it.
You had an agreement with a gal friend of yours.
Yeah.
She was going out on a date.
And I'd call at a particular time, maybe let's say half hour into the date or whatever, and then she could have an excuse if she needed it.
I was terrifyingly too trusting of complete strangers when I was dating.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I was actually just the other day, I was thinking about this guy that I went out on a date with, and then he drove me home, and as he was driving me home, I fell asleep because I was tired.
Oh, yeah?
And eventually, I woke up and I gave him the wrong directions. I remember doing that. And I was like, oh, shoot, actually, I don't live over here. I live over there. But I was thinking, he could have took me anywhere.
Yeah.
I was passed out.
You fell asleep or you passed out?
I fell asleep. I was very, very sleepy.
And before you fell asleep, you gave him the wrong address to your home?
Yeah, it was when I was in the process of moving. I was moving around.
So then when you woke up, where were the two of you?
We weren't that too far, or that was weird. We weren't too far from where I did live, but he was just going in the wrong direction.
Okay.
I was like, oh, wait, no, you got to turn around. It's actually that way.
It dawned on you this man was a complete stranger before you went out on this date. So it was a blind date?
Yeah.
Do you realize, Ashley, you could have woke up on a table covered in cling wrap like out of Dexter?
Yeah, and I think about that. Or even my now fiance. Obviously,
Covered
we were
in cling wrap. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds great coming out.
It's great if you watch Dexter.
Never saw it.
My now fiance, when I first met him in person, we were obviously messaging for a couple weeks before I met him, but I just went over to his house at 11 p.m. at night. I thought, whatever. What's the worst that could happen?
That's a booty call, right? You realize that, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, there's a lot of people who have been doing that for years now with that Tinder. You want to bang? Sure. What's your address?
But you shouldn't be doing stuff like that anymore.
No, you should not do that.
No. I was way too trustworthy of men that I had no idea who they really were.
It's a dangerous game to play.
Yeah.
I can say, Ashley, that I also took some serious friggin' chances. Serious chances. Not only with one-night stands, but blind dates. And I had a couple of blind dates where they were probably capable of murder. Really freaked me out a couple of times. So Josh also falls in love with strangers, but in a different way.
Yeah, a lot different. I was going to say, if you wanted to ruin a first date, maybe you propose.
Oh, God.
After an hour, this is going so well.
Mm-hmm. Some people might like that.
Dana and Ashley, you guys were recently single. Dana, you probably will be soon again.
Of course.
Do they? Do you guys stalk the online? Look up a ton of stuff online before you go out with somebody at this point?
I have a very good friend that's a lawyer, and she's good at that type of thing, and she does the research for me.
Oh, so she does do that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
there was
creep.
one where this was a very random late night Instagram thing. She messaged me, "Hey, I think you live in this neighborhood. Can I come over?" And I said, "Sure."
And you had no idea who it was?
No, I looked at her photo. She was cute. She came over. It was great. But then the next day, I had my friend look her up, and she goes, "Yeah, she's got a prior domestics and DUIs. You should probably steer clear of this one."
Okay, so that answers my second question.
Domestic incidents.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
I was going to ask if you guys ever found something where you thought, oh, that was a close one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what about you, Ashley?
I never found anything, but I would creep quite a bit, to the point where I probably ruined a couple of the first date questions.
Because you already know the answer?
Yeah, like I already know your mom's name.
Yeah, I know where you went to middle school.
You have 3 sisters? All right, not news to me.
After my fiance and I went on our first date, I had my friend look her up. I go, hey, the date went really well. I really like her. You know, do your research. And she comes back. She goes, bad news, Dana. And I go, what? And she goes, she's too clean. There's got to be something behind it. She's too clean. Not even a parking ticket, Dana.
Man.
She's too clean. There's got to be something behind this.
I had one encounter. That's the word I'm going to use, where it's not really a date, it's just an encounter. Where then, I don't know, a couple months later, and I think we only encountered each other once. A couple months later, her ex-boyfriend was in the papers for some violence.
No.
Yeah, made the paper.
So it's bad.
And I thought, you know, maybe I'll stay away from this one. If this is the way her ex-boyfriend behaves, he's in the friggin' paper for choking folks out or whatever the hell he did, maybe I stay away from this one. But there was the other, now that was an encounter. Back to blind dates. I did set up a blind date once over the telephone with a gal who promised she looked like Janet Jackson. And I said, control. In the end, she looked more like Freddie Jackson. No, honestly, there was one blind date where the gal told me, meet me at this bar. You'll know it's me. Because I look a lot like Lindsay Lohan. And I said, wow, wee.
Oh, and you were, at one point, really into Lindsay Lohan.
Yes. And I went to the bar, and I did 6 laps around that joint. And I didn't see anybody who looked like Lindsay Lohan. You want to know why, Ashley?
Why?
Because she looked nothing like Lindsay Lohan.
More like Freddie Jackson.
No.
It was more like Freddie Jackson.
I didn't see that coming at all.
Control!
I remember that story.
Yeah.
That's so bold.
I drove up to stinking, I don't know, Malacca or something. I don't know. Drove all the way. Lindsay, she looked like Lindsay Lohan. I said, I'll be there a half hour early.
That's like me saying, hey, I look like Megan Fox. You'll know when you get there. I'd be like, well, okay.
Yeah, I had half a beer. I lasted half a beer, Josh, and I walked out of the joint.
You think she really believed it, or she was trying to reel you in?
I think she was crazy enough to believe it.
Oh, is that right?
Control!
Yeah, that's a good tune.
Yeah. Let's get going again. What do you think about that?
That's good, because I got a sneeze coming on, and I don't want to do it on
Oh, I kind of want to hear it on air.
Give us an on-air sneeze, Josh.
I think it's going to be a big one, too.
Man.
Not that you have a varsity sneeze. No. I have a varsity sneeze.
Yours intimidating. I run out of the studio sometimes because it scares me.
Yeah. I always enjoy bodily functions live on the radio. Maybe you can conjure it up later. I can tell by your face right now.
I'm fighting it.
My God, why don't you just let her buck?
Yeah, it's bad to hold him in.
Look at his face.
Oh, okay.
You look like... Oh, you friggin' jackass.
I feel so much better. What a relief.
Stupid. That was stupid.
What a relief.
We got to take a break. We'll be right back.
Spit on that thing.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show.
Hey, you beautiful podcast listeners. Seriously, you folks are the best. We don't tell you that enough, but you are. And we couldn't do this without you, and we couldn't have a podcast if it weren't for our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Right now, you can save up to $7,500 on a mini-split ductless system or a high-efficiency heat pump combo with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. I know those are some fancy terms, but what it really means is they're going to make sure you're comfortable in your own house. And get this, they even take care of that rebate paperwork for you. Visit standardheating.com to lock in your deal and enjoy the show. And seriously, you guys are the best.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
This is a PSA, or public sock announcement. Experts have declared Bombas socks as the best way to warm up chilly feet. These pairs are super cushy, soft, and designed for maximum coziness. Plus, for every pair purchased, another pair will be donated, so someone in need of essential clothing can stay warm this winter. Go to bombas.com/listen and use code LISTEN for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/listen and use code LISTEN at checkout.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Yeah, we've been talking. And you know how we can get, right, Josh?
It can get weird.
We've been talking, jaw-jacking about some of the shady blind dates and encounters we've had over the years. Got a couple of text messages. Everyone's had a couple of blind dates well, except for Josh, I guess.
Just
or
the one.
a one-night stand or something that, just the one what?
Just the one that you saved me.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right. So Pinstriper Jesus texted in, and he's a married man now. He said he looked up his wife online before their first date. He said you can find a lot of stuff online, legal this and that. Said it's all public information, and that's good to know. I forget about things like that. I'll think about that before I go on my next first date. So he looked up his wife before they started dating. And he said she was clean on paper. But then years later, she told him a story about setting her ex-boyfriend's car on fire.
Oh, was she under 18, does he say?
He doesn't give away any other details, but I bet he steps lightly from here on out.
Heck yeah. He hides all the matches at home, that's for sure.
Dana, you mentioned some iffy, squirrely character that you dangled with once, some kind of a Tinder thing?
It was Instagram, actually. She messaged me on Instagram.
Said she wanted to fire you into the tall grass?
Basically, yes.
I can't, honestly, that shocks me that a stranger would message you on Instagram and say, I'd like to come over, and you're like, sure, here's my address.
Yeah. I was,
Horny?
Yeah, well, yeah, but also, too, after I got divorced, one of my good friends, she encouraged me, and I'll never forget this quote. She goes, just lean into the crazy for a little bit. Have some fun. So I was. And that was one that I kind of regret and kind of realized, like, wow, I could be dead right now.
I'd be nervous about that.
No reason to regret it.
And I would also assume it's not a lady. It's somebody that's going to show up and kill me.
Oh!
Oh, good point. That didn't even cross my mind when Dana told us the story.
When you were telling us about this gal, Florida Hockey Jesus, he's got a gut feeling that maybe the two of you are Eskimo brothers. So answer this question. He says that gal you tangled with, when she left your place, did she steal a box of Cheez-Its and a bottle of vodka?
Honestly, maybe.
Sweet. That's sweet.
She did like both of those things.
Question.
Yes.
Tinder. Does that have like a geolocation on it where it finds like-minded horn dogs in your area?
I'm not sure. I never used it, but Hinge was like that.
Okay.
You could set a radius.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've only looked at one of these setups once, and I thought every gal that popped up, it would tell you how far, the distance in miles, she was from your home.
Yeah, you know what? Now that you say that, I've had friends that, well, if they travel somewhere, they'll pull up Tinder and it'll tell you, where they are in that city.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's got to be almost impossible not to get laid nowadays.
Absolutely impossible.
Think about how much work it was back in the day. First, you had to find them.
Right.
Right? You'd have to find the girls, and then and you'd also have to win them over.
Right.
In some way, versus just throwing out a text to 30 women saying, hey, and then maybe hooking up after that.
Back in high school, you'd have to find them, and then you had a 2-hour window to win them over.
Right, and there's competition.
And there was competition at every turn.
Yeah, there's rival high schools there. You're all there.
And again, back to this one encounter or experience that I ever had with these Tinder-type apps. I don't know if it was Tinder or not. Me and a pal were at our neighborhood bar, younger guy that we were friendly with. He's fingering his cell phone on the bar all night long. and he's trying to set up one of these Tinder-type situations. The younger guy gets up to take a squeege, so me and my buddy commandeer. He forgets his phone, the young guy, as he goes into the bathroom. Me and my buddy commandeered his phone, and is it swipe right that's good?
Yes.
My pal sat there swiping right on every single woman that crossed our path on the phone. So when the young guy got back from the bathroom, he'd go, holy balls, what happened? You know, we're messing with the guy. But I'll never forget, my buddy made a funny line, and I've stolen the line since, and I use it as often as I can.
This is the guy whose phone you stole?
No. Young guy's in the bathroom. One of our other buddies is the one who's fingering the phone. I'm just a spectator, and he's swiping right on everybody. So my pal, who's commandeered the phone, he says, oh, yeah, he'll like this one. Oh, yeah, she'll do. Oh, yeah, why not choose her, too? Swiping right. And then he dumped this line out, which I've been stealing ever since. He said, oh, yeah, this one looks like she gives it out like Halloween candy.
This is a friend of a friend. My friend had a block party, and I was at this block party, and we're kind of all hanging out. And this guy told us about this girl he met on Tinder, and he was and he's our age, so he knows what it was like when it was more difficult.
Right.
And he said, back in the day, it'd be a lot tougher to find a girl who'd go down on you with a citrus fruit, but it's easy now.
Oh.
And then he described what happened. And there was a variety of fruits.
Go down on you with a citrus fruit.
Yeah, citrus fruit. And there's a few different ones that incorporated.
Yeah,
I imagine that could be kind of stingy depending on what's going on.
It can be.
I mean, soap is bad enough. Ooh,
Yeah,
boy,
never used Tinder. It gave me the vibe that it being that easy was alarming.
Folks say it's different now.
What's different?
Tinder, that it's more.
Yeah, how so?
It's less just, hey, let's bang. But I don't have any experience on it.
People want commitment.
That's silly. Here we effing go. Firing up our final stupid news report for the week, which is a powerful feeling. Josh, I always thought once our college years were over, we didn't have to worry so much about folks effing with us if we pass out early at a beer party, where they use a magic marker on your handsome face, or they stack garbage up on top of your passed out carcass, that kind of a thing. I thought once we got away from our college years, we didn't have to worry. Apparently, no matter what stage in life we find ourselves, there are still people who think that bit is hilarious and appropriate. I mean, hell, everybody's different. When we were in our 30s, drinking with other people in their 30s, Josh and I once witnessed a teabagging at a house party. I found it to be so disturbing and disgusting that I immediately put down my beer and I left that party.
It changed how I felt about that individual.
It's not right at all.
It's still wrong, horribly wrong. But if that would have happened when I was 17, I probably would have stayed at that party. When I'm 33, I'm not hanging out with folks who do that to each other in their 30s.
And I'm not trying to be a buzzkill here, but that's sexual assault.
Yes, it is.
I mean,
Yes.
My God.
So some guy jumped up on that godless, soulless, evil social media looking for advice from strangers on this topic, the topic of messing with each other when you pass out at a beer party. And here's his story now then. Let's call him Donnie. Donnie says he drank too much at a family barbecue. He fell asleep in a hammock, or as some folks say, a hammock. And his brother-in-law filled his belly button with super glue.
No.
Do any of you, so I have friends that maybe, will mess with each other at this age even. I've never had this type of relationship.
At this age?
Not like that. I mean, just mess with each other, get bust balls or, that kind of thing.
Oh, just ball busting
maybe,
and being terribly mean to each other.
Yeah, just say, I crashed into your car. I don't know. Something like that. We'll mess with each other. But I never had that relationship with my siblings for whatever reason. Like, I would never prank my siblings real bad outside of, like, maybe scare them or something real innocent. Did you, Nick? I mean, you and your brother have kind of followed it, but I don't picture you guys, like, putting poop in the other person's lunchbox.
No. Mainly because we tried to spend as little time together as possible.
Well, that makes a difference.
My siblings and I. No, we did not have that relationship, basically because we all kind of wanted to be individuals more so than three siblings walking around the neighborhood hand in hand kind of a thing, you know. So here we go again. Donnie passes out in a hammock at a family party. His brother-in-law filled his belly button with super glue. And I bet Donnie's brother-in-law is one of those guys who just aggravates the living hell out of everybody, but he's convinced he's delivering HBO stand-up comedy special quality stuff every time he opens up his mouth. That's just my guess.
Everyone probably knows one of those people.
Gosh, I would kill somebody. Stay away from my belly button.
I was trying to think of the most recent pranks, and it's nothing outrageous. One guy, I taped a bumper sticker to his back window that said, "Cowboy butts drive me nuts." And you know what? I think they do drive him nuts. They drive us all nuts.
That's innocent.
You were telling the truth, Josh.
You taped it there.
I just taped so he
could remove it in an instant. You did. It's nothing permanent.
Now it's on his beer fridge. I walked out to my vehicle once, and somebody had taken a piece of cardboard and wrote "douchebag" on it and put it underneath my windshield wiper. And I thought, oh no. Who did I upset? And of course, it was my oldest. He's the one that did that. But I use that on other people's cars.
I wish I could think of the last time we pranked each other, my friend group and I. You probably got to go all the way back to that chocolate donut that wasn't a chocolate donut.
I don't like that story.
Nobody likes that story. I was there. Okay.
Cam, put that on. Put the douchebag.
Was his girlfriend there?
His girlfriend knew about it. Inside joke.
Here's someone that texted in to say, whatever, cheese man. Yeah, but that was college when they turned me into cheese man.
You said that.
College years.
After college, rules should change.
Totally acceptable during the college years. There's absolutely no reason for anyone to turn anyone else into cheese man when they're in their friggin' 30s, 40s, and 50s.
Whenever we talk about this, I'm very thankful that I'm a girl. Because that's just not something we did.
You didn't put ice cubes in each other's bras when you were asleep? You didn't put hot sauce in your panties or anything like that?
Never.
Okay.
Nope.
One of our favorite things to do in college was, you take a Sharpie, you draw on someone's face or something. That's kind of dumb, but
I like doing that.
What we would do is we would draw on their
You're
back,
good at this.
so they wouldn't even notice.
On their bare back?
On their bare back.
Or their T-shirt, you mean?
No, on their bare back. Like draw a huge penis on their back, so they wouldn't even notice until somebody pointed it out.
So they go to the YMCA to play racquetball.
Was the penis always directed towards the butt?
Of course.
I mean, it has to be, right?
Can you imagine the first person that drew a giant penis on there and they went the other way? What a missed opportunity.
Big time.
All right, so Donnie with the super glue in his belly button. He ends up in the emergency room. Doctors had to use this and that to remove the glue from his belly button hole. He was pissed. Again, because he's a grown man with other grown people at a family function when his brother-in-law does this to him. He was pissed. Even before he ended up with a $2,000 medical bill, he was pissed.
That's insane.
And guess what? His oh-so-hilarious brother-in-law has refused to pay for the bill. So Donnie said, okay, funny guy, I don't give two pumps if you're my brother-in-law. I'll take you to court.
Nice.
And you can try your comedy act in front of a judge. And that's what Donnie did. He took his brother-in-law to court, and Donnie won. But his brother-in-law, the Carlos Mencia of family get-togethers, still hasn't paid Donnie, even though a judge ordered him to do so. So Donnie asked the 8th graders and the total dorks on social media for advice because it's caused a big pissing match in his family. His wife's side of the family thinks he overreacted and shouldn't have gone to the hospital in the first place. Donnie says that his wife is, quote, barely on his side, probably because she's protective of her dork brother, Donnie's brother-in-law. Donnie's brother-in-law, everyone's showing sympathy to him because he's going through a divorce and is, quote, between jobs. And Donnie added quotes to between jobs, so that sounds like his brother-in-law doesn't like to work very much.
Yeah, and people go through divorce every day.
Right.
Not special.
I'm between jobs. I had a job in 2007. Eventually, I'll get another one.
Oh, I love that.
So anyone who has some advice for Donnie, go ahead, find him on social media. A few of the top answers go like this. Garnish his brother-in-law's wages. That sounds complicated. Prank him back.
Nah, because he might flip it on you now since you took this to another level.
Yeah, right. I mean,
it's not who does it, it's who retaliates that gets punished.
I wouldn't prank him back because despite being the funniest guy in the room, I bet Donnie's brother-in-law does not have much of a sense of humor when he's the victim.
A wise man said to me the other day, the high road is undefeated.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Others advised Donnie to go on the television show Judge Judy.
That would be awesome.
Never saw it.
Oh, I love her.
She gets cranky.
You guys like her.
She'd make him pay right then and there.
She terrifies me.
I don't really understand why he did go to the hospital. Is that like a life-threatening situation if you have super glue in your belly button?
Well, but I'm guessing, Ashley, it should have been more specific in the story. I'm guessing you put the super glue into someone's belly button and you close the sumbitch.
Oh, I don't know why I asked because thinking of that makes me want to vomit.
You permanently close their belly button for them so it's sealed. You can do the same thing with a urethra.
Oh my God.
If you want to.
I just clenched my legs together.
If you want to.
All right, so that would probably hurt pretty bad then.
Yeah, no
your
more
skin
wind.
pulling.
All right, who wants a fresh nightmare? Because this ought to cut it.
I don't have enough already, so lay another one on me.
Don't you get night terrors, Dana?
Yes, actually.
Dana, I dedicate this story to you then.
Thank you.
Says here a 17-year-old boy in India recently underwent surgery to remove his conjoined twin.
Just the other day, so my youngest son, he was born in vitro, right? So they implanted 2 eggs.
That's up by Ely.
No, it's not it's not a place you'd find on a map.
Well, born in vitro.
Well, eventually it ends up in a vagina, right? So he's in vitro. He's one of 2 eggs they put in there. And I told him the other day, I said, you ate your twin. You were technically a twin, and I'm trying to convince him that he ate him in the womb. He's not buying it.
No.
You're the best.
I should have done it when he was younger. Right now, he's not buying it. And my wife, she's the worst at playing along. She couldn't keep a straight face, nothing.
Dude, not even a dude yet, he's a kid, underwent surgery to remove a conjoined twin. Doctors removed the legs, ass, and genitalia of a conjoined twin that never fully developed. The conjoined twin was lodged in the kid's chest. It was protruding out of his chest.
Oh, I find this kind of stuff so fascinating.
But I gotta ask, Josh, I saw the pictures of this kid and his conjoined twin shooting out of his chest. It doesn't look real. Is this real?
It kind of looks fake.
Is this real?
It happens.
Let's pretend it is.
And by the way, you don't need to have a conjoined twin to have underdeveloped genitalia. Take a look at this.
No, don't.
It's underdeveloped.
The story says the 17-year-old kid endured years of physical pain, bullying, and limited mobility because of this conjoined twin hanging off of him. The operation to remove the useless ass, legs, dong, and balls went without any major complications, and now the kid can go out and live a happy, normal life, which is wonderful. That the kid,
yeah.
Until the ghost of his conjoined twin returns, of course, and speaks to him in the night.
I wonder if, and I'm not joking, but I wonder, he lived with this for a long time. I wonder if he would feel a sense of sadness in a way, or just pure glee that he's not carrying around all this extra stuff.
Oh, kind of like something's missing?
Yeah. I mean,
that's an interesting way to look at it.
Because I know someone who was born deaf and they got a cochlear implant, and then they kind of were sad almost because how things were changed.
Maybe they thought, why am I the lucky one? So many other people are deaf. Why? And I know why did I deserve to be so lucky to finally be able to hear again?
And in the community, the deaf community, that's controversial, deciding to do that. And he was, I want to say early 20s when he had it happen. So, he was deaf for a long time. It's
an interesting point of view. Ashley, Hot Cocoa Sheezes texted the program. Side note, Wawa talking about the guy who had his belly button glued shut.
Yeah.
She has a fair question. Where's the guy supposed to put all that lint now? Where are you supposed to put that smelly lint?
It's trapped in there.
Some of you might be wondering what took this 17-year-old kid from India who had a conjoined twin hanging off of his chest, which included, where is it? Legs, ass, penis, testicles. You might be wondering what took this kid's parents so long to sign him up for the operation to remove the, well, I guess every damn doctor in town told him that the operation would kill him dead.
And I'd imagine that is not something you can just pay out of one paycheck. I would think it'd be insane expensive.
I didn't even consider the cost, but the doctors got her done. Now the kid is straight up pumped to be alive and able to do things he never could afore. He said, I'm going to go to school and get a job, and I hope to holler at some of the fly-ass honeys. A new world has opened up to me, he says. Not the first to live with a parasitic twin. Parasitic twin. Mm-hmm. It's not a very nice word.
Yeah, I know. It really is.
That's the first I noticed that. Parasitic twin. Only 40 to 50 cases of conjoined twins, whatever you want to call it, have been documented in the world. One of the most famous cases was that of a character by the name of Jean Libera. He was a circus performer from hundreds of years ago who had a twin protruding from his abdomen. He was dubbed the double-bodied man, and he would perform in sideshows alongside his parasitic twin that he named Jacques.
That freaks me out a lot.
Jacques had 2 arms, 2 legs, and a partially formed head.
I imagine you're right, Josh, that you feel like a deep sense of sadness, because I've heard from regular twins that are not connected.
Yes.
That when one of them passes away, that the surviving twin can feel it, physically, emotionally. Yeah.
You know,
I hope I'm around to tell. I hope I'm able to tell you that story to confirm that or not someday. It doesn't have to be tomorrow. I'm just saying. When I'm
Eventually.
85, if my twin brother dies when we're both 85, I'll call you and say not true.
Is that more
or I'll say true.
Identical twins or just any twin in general?
I've heard it about identical twins. I'm not sure about any twin.
Now I'll tell you something kind of weird.
Nick, you'll feel it because he'll be on the other side of your blade.
God, just swinging wildly. Ah! Yes, I will feel it.
Yeah, you'll feel it.
The blood splatter. I'll feel the blood splatter. I'll tell you something kind of weird, and I hope it's not too dark for some of you or depressing for some of you.
I like that kind of stuff.
But on the night that my dad died, of course, we weren't living in the same home. He lived a couple hours north of here. I did wake up for no reason in the middle of the night. Now, it happens to me periodically, but I did wake up in the middle of the night for no reason and kind of wondered why. And then when I woke up, 2-3 hours later, I learned that he had died.
Yeah, stuff like that happens for sure.
Don't know if it means anything.
It could.
I don't know.
Remember when you guys said off air that you were going to try to make me cry?
Yeah.
That's going to make me cry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's true. Ashley, she had said now that she's pregnant, she's noticed she's more emotional.
Yeah.
So we told her we're going to tell her a wonderful story every day and try and make her cry. Tell her just a beautiful story to see if we can get it to go. So day 1, it already worked.
Yep.
Now, this is what I've been waiting on all week. I'm sorry, Ashley. I'll go back to being ridiculous and antagonistic here right now.
Very fascinating.
Okay. It's a thing. Oh, I don't know if it's a thing. I wonder if it's a thing. I've been waiting all week for this one. Speaking of old timers, next time you talk to your great-grandpa over there at the old folks' home and you ask him how he's doing and he says, I'm all right, maybe dig a little deeper. Ask great-grandpa for a few more details because it's possible that great-grandpa might have just pinned a porn star. Great-grandpa might be fresh off a porn star's ass.
Something needs to happen with this girl. I don't know if there's a way we can arrest her, but she just needs to get off the streets. She's causing just mayhem.
Ashley wants the authorities to be alerted to this. You already know this, but I'm going to go ahead anyway. If you're an OnlyFans gal, you got to have a gimmick, and it better stand out in the crowd, or you're not going to make that money. One of those OnlyFans ladies has found her gimmick. I'm sure she tried all the others first, and she wasn't getting the response she hoped for. But nonetheless, she found the route to take to get the attention she so desperately needs. And to get that money, she says she's launching a tour of nursing homes to find elderly veterans to fold her in half in her porno movies.
That's basically patriotic, is what that is.
I can see.
Why are you mad at this woman, Ashley?
She's a patriot.
thing.
She's just, she needs to chill on the sex. I get it. We all love sex, but when is enough enough?
Some of the pictures I saw were a little unsettling.
Yeah.
She's launching a tour of nursing homes to find elderly veterans to throw her down. Speaking of my dad, if only my Vietnam veteran amputee father could have lived long enough to see this. Not that he or I would have wanted him to star in a porno movie on OnlyFans, but maybe, Josh, one day he could have tuned into OnlyFans and spotted a guy he went to boot camp with or something like that.
They could reconnect.
I remember him.
Hey, that's Vernon from boot camp, and he's from Little Rock, Arkansas. That's Vernon. So this porno gal who's preying on the elderly, that's how some people see it. She goes by the handle of Tiffany Wisconsin, or Wisconsin Tiff.
I know two people named after parts of Wisconsin with, not uncommon names. I know a guy who named his daughter Milwaukee, and I know a different guy that named his daughter Madison, and it was specifically due to Wisconsin.
Because of the conception?
No, it wasn't conception. It just meant something to them. So, but is there a Minnesota one? I mean, Winona Ryder. I was trying to think if there's...
yeah.
Are there babies named after Minnesota towns?
I'm sure there are, but is there like Madison is very common.
I used to date a chick named Burnsville.
Yeah.
Do it.
Josh, you remember my first wife, her name was Pequot.
It was not Pequot.
Her name was Pequot.
That would be ridiculous.
It was Pequot McGee was her name. Reamer. Well, no, Josh, a good question. I believe this is a true story. I know a guy who named his daughter Ely because that was the town she was conceived in.
I'm an idiot.
What?
It's a cute name.
My friend's daughter is named Ely. They have a cabin up there. Yeah. That was stupid.
I'm not in favor of that bit, but everyone's got their own thing.
It wasn't a conception thing. It was just they had a family cabin up there. And he spent pretty much every summer up there.
All right, so back to this gal who's planning to ride your great-grandfather into the ground and put the two of them on OnlyFans. She goes by the handle of Tiffany Wisconsin, or Wisconsin Tiff, 36 years old. Cute blonde, curvy.
Yeah.
That's
she
a good way
kind
to
of has
describe
an Anna Nicole Smith vibe a little bit.
She does. She first joined OnlyFans 5 years ago, but it went nowhere for her until she started doing old timers.
I don't know if I'd feel good about that. It was going absolutely nowhere, so I had to start having sex with old dudes.
Yeah. Now she's made plans to hit nursing homes all across specifically the Midwest to find Jurassic old vets to bang. She says she likes to hang out at the VA to find old fellers.
It's a good place to find them.
She said the VA is even easier for me because a lot of older men go to the VA, for their health appointments and stuff. Isn't she adorable? The way she comes off. Tiffany Wisconsin said she likes older men because they're more caring. They're more emotionally available. They're experienced. And I like this next part. They take their time. Well, you think they're taking their time, but actually, that's top speed for them.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't work as well as it used to.
You know what I'm saying?
I've seen a decline.
You think they're taking their time, but they're going at it as fast as they can.
I just saw a video on her Instagram of her kissing a man that's probably in his 90s. Oh, I'm going to throw up.
Oh!
What? So you're 27?
Yep.
What's your oldest again? That if you were going to go older than you?
It's not that high. Probably 35.
35?
It used to be 40.
It used to be 30 in my early 20s.
Did you ever watch the video? Josh already mentioned Anna Nicole Smith. Did you watch the videos of her kissing and fondling her 117-year-old husband before he died?
No.
Yeah, it was a little uncomfortable.
It was troubling.
Yeah, it was.
It was troubling.
Oh, worrisome.
All right, so Tiffany Wisconsin says the thing with younger guys who are my age, this is a direct quote from her, they're all like, bam, 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 bam. But with older men, we can actually sit down and have a conversation. She even admits that she briefly dated a 70-year-old man, but it didn't work out. You know what happened there, Josh?
What's that?
One night, Wisconsin Tiff, or whatever her name is, she said to her 70-year-old boyfriend, she said, "You want to go upstairs and have sex?" And he said, "I don't think I can do both."
Yeah, I wonder why she was with him. This Instagram caption says, when she was dating him, "Celebrating my 70-year-old boyfriend because he put down a payment on a G-Wagon for me."
What the hell's a G-Wagon?
gosh.
A really nice vehicle.
Oh.
That's not cheap.
I bet she was just with him because of love, though.
Not the Mercedes?
No.
So like Josh was saying earlier, talk about caring for our veterans, huh? Talk to your relatives, your male relatives in the old folks' home. She's headed specifically for the Midwest, and she wants your grandfather's Johnson. Woo-wee.
Yeah, I need to get off her Instagram. This is making me incredibly uncomfortable.
You're emotional as it is, and now you're starting to get nauseous. What are you laughing at now? You see a photo of her dumping a BJ on some guy that graduated in 1952 or something? What are you looking at?
There's like an 89-year-old man behind her, like holding her drugs.
Send me a screenshot, Ashley.
Yeah, for sure, too.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Oh,
hey, class of 52. You thought you were forgotten? Not anymore. This gal's headed for you, and she wants to put a big friggin' smile on your face.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
The game has just changed. I mean, the game is way different than when I played. Ohtani is not going to hit 2 home runs without seeing one go right here. In my generation, I don't care what he does. He's not going to steal 2 bases without somebody decapitating his kneecap and slow him down, because it's a different game.
Barry Bonds right there. More or less saying, yeah, this Shohei Ohtani guy is cute and everything, but he couldn't have made it back in my day.
That's amazing. Athletes rarely have that take.
They never mention that.
They never mention about how much harder it was in their day.
Barry Bonds, what a character he is. I'm looking forward to bringing this up to Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder a little bit later. They'll get a kick out of that. Barry stinking Bonds. He was one of my favorite players in the early 90s before he turned into a motorhome with a baseball cap on top of his head back when he was a what's the word I should say, Josh? An average-sized build. He was a great player. He remained a great player. But when he was a lot more of a slender player with the Pittsburgh Pirates back in the late 80s, early 90s, man, I loved him.
Stealing a bunch of bases and stuff. He didn't do that too much later in his career.
No, he just was. Something would have just come off. He was so blown up. The Pigs made a deal yesterday. The boys' state hockey tournament went with the AA clubs yesterday at the X. We'll talk all about that in about a half hour, and plenty going on this weekend, including the Golden Gopher men's and women's hockey programs involved in postseason games, which should cause folks to drink and have a good time and carry on and on and on. We'll take a break, but come right back with Josh's news report.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Hey, you beautiful podcast listeners. Seriously, you folks are the best. We don't tell you that enough, but you are. And we couldn't do this without you, and we couldn't have a podcast if it weren't for our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Right now, you can save up to $7,500 on a mini-split ductless system or a high-efficiency heat pump combo with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. I know those are some fancy terms, but what it really means is they're going to make sure you're comfortable in your own house. And get this, they even take care of that rebate paperwork for you. Visit standardheating.com to lock in your deal and enjoy the show. And seriously, you guys are the best.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states. I'm not exactly a tech genius, but I knew one thing for sure. If I wanted my small business to crush it, I needed a website that worked like a pro, and I needed it yesterday. Lucky for me, Bluehost made it ridiculously easy. With their AI design tools, building my website was a walk in the park. I could customize, optimize, and monetize everything exactly how I want it. In just a few minutes, I had a secure site up and running. I couldn't believe how straightforward it was. And getting found online? Bluehost helped me with that too. I perfected my keywords and meta descriptions with their search engine tools. The AI even gave me suggestions to improve my pages. Now, I can sit back, relax, and focus on my customers while my website continues to rank higher and higher on Google. With their 30-day money-back guarantee, I wasn't worried about taking the plunge. And now I'm so glad I did. Head over to Bluehost.com and build something special today.
Half-assed Morning Show. 93X.
Here at the Apodaca Park, I mean, family, friends, kids, they all come here to have fun and everything, and something like that to happen here at the park, it's a tragic story.
Here's a warning if there's any little ears in the listening audience, and Ashley, I'd like you to cover up your belly there so my honorary nephew doesn't hear this. This is insane. We've actually talked about this story, but it's coming up again because there's been a sentencing. A jury in New Mexico convicted a 28-year-old man of unspeakably brutal crimes, stabbing his victim 84 times, decapitating him, and then using that severed head as a soccer ball in a public park.
Yeah, that does sound familiar.
He's now facing a lifetime behind bars as well as a red card.
Honestly, it's insane, if I'm being completely honest, because stuff like that never really happens here. And for it to happen over here at the park of all things, and plus all the other things they were saying about what the guy was doing with the head and all that stuff after, it was just completely insane, very out of character for here.
Thank goodness.
That is a story you remember. That's a story you remember.
I wouldn't want to live near a park where somebody said, yeah, somebody playing soccer with a head. Yeah, that makes sense. That's that type of park.
Yeah, I'm sure she just didn't really know what to say.
Exactly.
Yeah,
what do you say?
It's a great park. That usually doesn't happen.
What part of the world was this?
New Mexico. When questioned by cops, the defendant, it sounds like regular Mexico, right? You hear stories like that not New Mexico.
Yeah.
When questioned by cops, the defendant didn't deny the murder. In fact, he admitted to it, almost brazenly so, claiming it was an act of revenge and the guy had it coming. He told police the victim assaulted his wife 4 years earlier. Days before the murder, the three had been spending some time together when he and his wife fell asleep, only to wake up and find the victim gone along with all their belongings. Wow. Enraged, the defendant allegedly confronted the victim at the park, took a switchblade from him, and carried out the gruesome attack. After decapitating the victim, he admitted to kicking the severed head toward 14 different vehicles parked in the area.
An act of revenge. I mean, that is one hell of an act.
Yeah, he won. He won, for sure.
I guess.
Passengers...
But it sounds like, if you're that violent, I hope they're looking into whether or not this was the only victim under his belt.
I'm sure he's done some stuff, right?
Dude.
You don't start there.
Oh, God.
No Jesus name here, but 768 area code.
I saw that. I can't.
Says, I won't be heading to that park anytime soon.
Bastard. Just a bastard.
Passengers on a Southwest flight to Phoenix got an unexpected pre-flight spectacle when an unruly traveler stripped naked and caused bedlam and boners before takeoff.
Boners were caused.
They were. You can't help it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. The plane was taxiing at Houston's Hobby Airport when the woman, fully clothed at the time, marched to the front of the aircraft and demanded to get off. But when the plane kept moving, so did she, right out of her clothes.
She turned around facing us and stripped all of her clothes off. She then proceeded to make her way back towards the front of the plane and started banging on the cockpit doors, asking to be let in, and she was screaming.
And she shed everything, hat, shoes, undies, and all, baring her breast, butt, and vagina for a captive audience. And unfortunately, that captive audience included children.
Oh.
They received an unscheduled lesson in female anatomy, an unsolved mystery that still mystifies most men.
This is getting crazy. This is something that you see out of a movie. She started jumping up and down, screaming at the top of her lungs.
It was very evident she was having a mental breakdown, one passenger recalled. The newly naked traveler then began banging on the cockpit door, demanding entry before rubbing her bare body against a flight attendant. And that was enough for the crew to call it quits and turn back to the gate, cutting her strip show short.
Turn it around.
As soon as the aircraft door opened, an airline worker rushed in with a blanket, but the naked passenger bolted from the plane before she could be fully covered. She was ultimately detained and taken to a hospital for evaluation. Officials say she won't face any charges.
What do you mean officials say she won't face any charges?
Yeah, you know, a lot of passengers had that same reaction. Like, well, wait a minute. She got naked in front of kids and rubbed her body all over someone. But I guess they said she was having a mental breakdown, and they're going to let it slide.
Well, you said something about boners.
Yeah.
So what are you saying that of all the crazy naked people that run around town day in, day out, we finally got one with a little bit of payoff?
Oh, I bet it would work for me, yeah.
Okay.
It just happens. It's biology.
Oh,
yeah.
I understand.
Yeah. A 51-year-old
biology.
A 51-year-old Florida woman's facing a domestic battery charge after hurling a whole watermelon at her boyfriend, who managed to avoid injury because he matrixed the flying fruit.
Sweet.
Police say things got heated Sunday night when Shelley Hardwick and her 56-year-old boyfriend got into an argument. In the middle of the shouting match, Hardwick grabbed a watermelon and launched it at him. The boyfriend pulled off a Matrix-style dodge to avoid the impact. Hardwick, on the other hand, admitted she tossed it out of frustration, but never actually hit him, never intended to. However, when officers showed up to the couple's motel, they spotted a damning piece of evidence. Watermelon seeds splattered across the man's face and clothes.
My reaction time isn't what it used to be, but I think I could still get out the way of a watermelon.
I mean, how fast can you really throw a watermelon?
Yeah, even if it's one of the smaller ones, like the beach ball size ones, I don't think that's going to be easy to toss. Slow down and move over, the State Patrol posted on social media after several squads were hit by drivers during this week's storm. Officials say over a 15-hour stretch between Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, 6 squad cars were hit while assisting stranded drivers. Whether it's a squad, fire truck, plow, tow truck, or stalled vehicle, move over.
Fire truck.
If you can't move over, slow way down. It's the law, the State Patrol said.
Speed is a major factor. People are just driving too fast for conditions, and you can't react properly.
You probably can't tell from that clip, but the guy you just heard just marinated himself head to toe in Icy Hot moments before the camera started rolling. Yes, that was the voice of Icy Hot evangelist and frequent 93X guest Lieutenant Mike Lee of the State Patrol.
Oh, that's great.
By Wednesday afternoon, officials reported 203 property damage crashes, 15 injury crashes, 303 vehicles off the road, 46 spinouts, and 27 jackknife semis.
Yeah, it was a mess.
Wow.
Driving too fast for the conditions. I didn't know that was a thing until one wintry day a few years ago. I was pushing it a little harder than the rest of traffic. I'll admit that, because I was fairly confident with four-wheel drive and this and that I wasn't going to cause any problems out on the roadway. But I got pulled over by a state trooper, and that son of a bitch was pissed at me. He hollered at me. And I said, what's the problem? And he said, you're driving way too fast for the conditions. And I said, that's a thing? And he said, yeah, that's a friggin' thing.
Yeah, you can get a ticket.
Yeah.
Did he give you a ticket?
No, he did not. I thought for sure, because this guy got out of the squad just hollering at me. Before he even got to the car, he was hollering at me. It was kind of like what we're dealing with today. It's warming up after a big storm. It's very slushy and whatnot. And I was just letting it buck. I had 100% confidence. Everything was fine. Boy, that cop effing agreed.
That's funny. So that cop treated you like my uncle always said. My uncle was a police officer, worked with your uncle.
It's true.
And your uncle didn't like my uncle, and nobody else did, including me.
Oh, that's true. Before we learned after we started working together that our uncles worked side by side as cops.
Yeah. And he always said to me, usually I'll give people a choice. Do you want to get the ticket or do you want to get yelled at? And he said, rarely would I ever combine the two.
So he would holler pretty good.
Oh, yeah, he liked to do that.
Was he a hollerer at family functions, too?
Oh, yeah, he was a lot of things. When police in Casper, Wyoming...
He was a lot of things. I've heard some stories.
Yeah. Oh, man. He responded, police in Casper, Wyoming, they go to a crash, but they didn't just find a wrecked truck. They found a very drunk man with a wild tale. He said he wasn't driving when the truck slammed into the bridge guardrails. He was only chasing it on foot because he thought maybe it was stolen. He said he watched as the phantom thief made a U-turn and crashed his vehicle into the guardrail, but then his story unraveled faster than a chili cheese Fritos and grapefruit juice combo through Nick's digestive system.
Oh, God, no.
You may remember that story.
It sounds so good, though.
It does sound good.
No, it does not.
It sounds good. Mid-sentence, he kept switching from saying I to they, fumbling over whether he was telling his own experience or someone else's. For good measure, he added that his neighbors were drug dealers, so obviously they were the culprits. And as for why he ran from the cops, he said he was just scared, like that poor toilet bracing for the hot, thick, and horrific rectal reckoning of the chili cheese Fritos grapefruit juice combo racing through Nick's digestive system.
Wow, that is one of a heck of a sentence,
What
Josh.
the hell? What got into you today?
Unsurprisingly, officers didn't buy a word of it, and they hit him with his third DUI charge in the past 10 years.
I don't think Ashley wants to revisit that story not the way you read it.
No.
A career criminal with a long rap sheet is back behind bars after Polk County deputies say he crashed a stolen motorcycle, then unconvincingly claimed he had no idea why he was sitting next to it with a helmet on. Authorities responded to reports of a man lying in the road just before 7 p.m. Monday. When a deputy arrived, they found 33-year-old John Teal Jr. sitting beside the downed bike, still wearing a helmet and nursing an injured hand. When questioned, he played dumb, insisting he had no clue where the motorcycle came from or why he was sitting next to it, despite the rather telling fact he was fully geared up for a ride. Investigators quickly determined the motorcycle had been reported stolen from St. Petersburg February 10th, and the ignition had been tampered with.
But he still doesn't know how he got to laying beside that motorcycle. Poor man. He's a thief and he don't know it.
As it turns out, this wasn't Teal's first run-in with the law, even his first time being busted for motorcycle theft. Jail records show he's been arrested more than a dozen times in that county with prior convictions for stealing motorcycles.
Wasn't it not too long ago? I don't know if it was on air or off air, but we were talking about how people will try to use that as an excuse to, excuse their actions. They'll say, oh, but I was blacked out. I don't remember. Or it doesn't change the fact that you did something just because you don't remember doing it.
Wouldn't that be something if it could? If you could get whatever you want, you just forgot. You're bang your head enough, you can't remember. The long-running debate over daylight saving time is back in the spotlight at the Minnesota State Capitol with lawmakers once again considering whether to ditch the twice-a-year clock change for good.
I'd be cool with it.
This Sunday, Minnesotans will once again spring forward, setting our clocks an hour ahead at 2 a.m. But if a newly proposed bill passes, this could be one of the last times we do it. The bill, called Stop the Clock, aims to keep Minnesota permanently on standard time. Under the proposal, no state, county, city, or town department could observe daylight saving time, effectively ending the tradition, losing an hour every spring and gaining it back each fall. The idea of scrapping daylight saving time isn't just a local issue, it's a national conversation. A Gallup poll found 54% of Americans support getting rid of the practice, which dates back to 1918.
It's just one less thing we got to pay attention to, you know?
Introduced on February 5th, the bill now moves to the House State Government Finance and Policy Committee, where lawmakers will debate whether it's finally time to stop the clock for good. Yeah, so don't forget, that happens this weekend.
All right.
Bill Murray coming back to the Twin Cities, but this time it's all about rock and roll. The comedy legend and former St. Paul Saints co-owner will hit the Orpheum Theater on April 10th with his band Bill Murray and his Blood Brothers.
No kidding.
A lineup which includes Jimmy Vivino, best known as Conan O'Brien's longtime band leader. The tour is being marketed as a showcase of performances that blend Murray's unique charm with classic rock music. The group first came together last September at the Big Blues Blender in Las Vegas, offering a mix of classic rock covers and originals, and now they're taking it on tour with tickets on sale today at 10 a.m.
I had no idea the man was musically inclined. Of course, I do remember the old lounge singer routine that he did on Saturday Night Live back in the 70s, and that was very, very funny. But I didn't know he had a band put together.
It was news to me until I saw this. I had never heard of that either. In theaters this week, Mickey 17... Oh, you know what?
What's that?
Goodness, I totally forgot to mention. Wait, there's more. 93X presents The Offspring Supercharged Worldwide Tour in 2025. Special guests Jimmy Eat World and Newfound Glory, Friday, August 15th at Target Center. Tickets on sale today at 10 a.m., but we can get you into the show all weekend for free starting at 5 p.m.
The Offspring?
Yes.
They almost killed me.
In what way?
Interviewed them on their tour bus once that was parked right on the street in front of First Avenue. and I stepped off the tour bus, forgetting that we were right on the street outside of First Avenue, and I walked into traffic.
Oh, gee.
Damn near the last thing I ever did was interview Noodles and other Noodles, whatever the guy's name is, in The Offspring.
They're nice guys.
They were very nice.
That's not necessarily a slow intersection right there.
I mean, it was out of a movie. Yeah. I just stepped off that bus like I was in the middle of a field.
What's the other guy? Dexter?
Dexter.
In theaters this week, Mickey 17, a science fiction black comedy starring Robert Pattinson as Mickey Barnes, an expendable clone worker on a human colony where expendables undertake deadly tasks. Mickey 17 also stars Toni Collette and Mark Ruffalo. Also on the big screen, Night of the Zoopocalypse, an animated adventure where a meteor crash unleashes a virus, transforming zoo animals into monstrous creatures, featuring the voice of David Harbour. If you're looking for a little theatrical fantasy action, then you may enjoy In the Lost Lands, based on a short story by George R.R. Martin, of course, of Game of Thrones fame. Mila Jovovich plays a powerful sorceress who joins a drifter, played by Dave Bautista, as they embark on a perilous journey to the Lost Lands in search of a magical power which allows a person to transform into a werewolf.
Let me tell you something, Cubby. I'd watch that Mila Jovovich make a grilled cheese sandwich.
I would too.
I'd pay top dollar to watch her make a grilled cheese sandwich.
Absolutely.
She's something else. On the streaming side, Plankton the movie premieres on Netflix, along with the season 7 debut of Formula One Drive to Survive. Ooh. Then on Max, the streaming premiere of Heretic. Sunday on AMC, Dark Winds begin its third season. I like that show. It sees Lieutenant Joe Leaphorn and Jim Chee investigate the mysterious disappearance of two boys, uncovering a trail marked only by an abandoned bicycle and a blood-stained patch of ground. Shout out to Youper Jesus on the way back to the UP for a visit. Happy birthday to Peter Gazinia, half-century plus one. It's been a while since we heard from him.
Peter Gazinia.
Glad he's still out there, kicking it down in Faribault. I see we have some texts that came in recently for some shout-outs. I'm sorry I haven't had time to go through them. I'll do them at 9. I apologize for that. But before we go, happy 15th to Ayla from Dad, and that's 93X News.
Randy Shaver.
Ah! What the hell? I just saw your balls. They're hanging out. Oh, my God. Balls are disgusting. They're hideous.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Use my piss for a piss test. Not one time. Not one time.
That can't happen today, because today, those
it can happen if you know what you're doing. No, don't say it can't happen, Pop.
How do you do it? How do you do it?
Pop, don't say it can't happen.
The reason it can't, because they go in there with you right now.
And you still can get them.
No, they go in there and watch you put out right now.
You still can get them.
Watch you put out and put in right now.
You want me to tell you how?
Yes.
I'm going to give y'all the secret right now. So them little cups, right?
No.
The cups they give you. All right?
I want to know.
No.
The cups they give you.
No.
All right. That's former NFL ball player and volatile lunatic Adam Pac-Man Jones. He said during his playing days he never used his own urine for an NFL drug test. That's the information we have for you as we welcome in Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder to the program. Good morning, boys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Pac-Man Jones went on some kind of a podcast with Deion Sanders. And mentioned he never used his own urine for an NFL drug test. You know what it makes me wonder, Josh?
What's that?
Has any of us ever used their own urine for anything out of the ordinary?
I've given my urine for drug tests.
Okay.
Oh, you really?
Yeah, clean urine.
Huh.
I've been peeing in a lot of cups lately because of the whole pregnant thing.
Sure. Okay.
It's so difficult being a woman
to conjure
doing that.
Because you have to squat over a cup?
Yeah, and you got to make sure.
Or how do you do it? Is there a certain position you'd like to tell us about that's easier than the others?
Well, the arms got to go between the legs.
Arms have to go between the legs. Because you're holding a. Okay, for some reason that lost me. Yeah, okay.
It can be sketchy though, and sometimes they want the beginning of your stream.
Yes.
And that's when it gets sketchy because I don't know where it's going to go in the beginning.
So you just kind of put it right up there? Or?
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, I would think so.
Just squat over a 5-gallon bucket.
Dude, seriously.
Is it a small receptacle that you're handed?
Yep. Yeah.
Would
it's the same cup that everybody else gets.
Why can't they
bigger? Funnel it.
Yeah, right. Why can't you funnel it into a larger can, bucket, pail? Why won't they give you something larger?
That would be cool if they handed out those Go Girls.
Yeah.
So then you got a funnel there. That would be so smart.
Didn't you have one of those?
Yeah, I never used it. I was too afraid.
You press it up against your gear. There's a hose. I've seen it used over the side of a boat. You string that hose over the side of a boat, and a woman can pee standing up quite easily. Yeah, the little sample cups. That's uncomfortable for everybody.
Yeah, it's not super easy for guys, but I'd imagine we have it a lot better than you.
Right.
Well, the worst is when it starts overflowing, and you're like, oh, God, I got too much going on here.
Yeah, you can fill them up easily depending on where you were spending time beforehand. Maybe you were at a bar. You knocked down a few beers. So, Pac-Man Jones said he managed to continue smoking marijuana cigarettes throughout his time as a pro ball player. Never got caught because he wasn't, and he never worried about being caught because he knew he wasn't going to use his own squeege. Life was good, he said, and he was good at faking these drug tests. Pac-Man Jones went on to say, people don't know how smart I am. I never used my piss for a piss test, not one time. Now, Deion Sanders, now that he's the coach of a collegiate ball club, he only let a little bit of this information run wild before he kind of shut it down. You know, he has to present himself as a more responsible adult nowadays.
Well, and what Sanders was saying, well, hey, they watch you now. I think
That's right.
Pac-Man Jones was going to bring up the Wizinator after that, the fake penis that you can use.
What did he say? Yeah, before Jones could go into those kinds of details, I'm with you, Josh. Almost certainly he was going to bring up the Wizinator, which first gained fame right here in town with a former Viking running back by the name of Ontario Smith. It's a fake, it looks like a damn dildo. It's a fake rubber penis. And you fill it with whiz, and you manipulate the fake whiz out of the unit and into that sample cup, and I guess it has fooled NFL drug testers before.
And Pac-Man said he got high before every game.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
We've certainly heard that before.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've never tried marijuana. I don't know how much it affects your balance or whatever you need to play football.
I guess it depends on your tolerance and things like that.
Yeah, I used to smoke before working out. It would kind of help me. But I don't know if it would help with, because you actually have to be paying a lot of attention. When I did it before working out, it would help me kind of zone out and forget how long I've actually been running for.
Randy Shaver, Brad Ryder, have you ever used marijuana before anything?
No.
No marijuana usage before a live television news broadcast or before...
I mean, if he's fielding a punt or a kickoff, I would where I'd see two footballs coming at me, or my reaction time would be slower.
Brad,
I would use caution over just about anything Pac-Man Jones.
Yeah, no kidding.
I
can't believe
this whole discussion, I've been sitting back here listening, going, are we really going to take what he says at his word? I don't believe.
All right, good point.
He says.
Yeah.
Brad, I was going to say that you probably could have used some weed for that era of time when you spent on the Timberwolves. There were some bad basketball clubs when you were there. Some weed might have taken the edge off.
And I know that they have changed a lot of the rules in the professional leagues about there are literally people standing there watching you pull it out and take a leak. So, yeah.
Smokes your mom's pot. Jesus got caught using a Wizinator when he was on probation. He had to spend the weekend in jail. Not worth the doobie that I smoked, he says.
Oh, that must have been awkward to get caught. Is that a fake penis?
I didn't think to consider the source, Brad Ryder. I just the topic was fascinating enough to where I got caught up in it. Right. He's probably telling lies because it gains him attention and it
people, because we're talking about it,
and it adds to that bad boy image that he's thrived on his entire career. How about this now? Pac-Man Jones, if you're an older football fan, I'm sure you remember him. If you're younger and you don't, look him up. On his own Wikipedia page, it notes he's been arrested more times than any other NFL player in the 21st century.
Yeah, he's the GOAT.
Here are a few of his greatest hits. Number 1, he spit on a woman in a nightclub. Number 2, He spit on a different woman in a different nightclub. Number 3, he ended up involved in a shooting at a strip club that left a former pro wrestler paralyzed.
Oh, Jesus.
I remember the shooting in the strip club. I didn't remember that extra dark information. Number 4, he was charged with hitting a woman at a different strip club. He didn't go back to the one where there was a shooting. He's got some common sense. Hey, do you want to go to the Jiggle Shack? Nah, that's where we were involved in that shooting and a dude ended up paralyzed. Let's go to the one across the street. The 5th one listed here, and this is the one I enjoy the most. He fought his own bodyguard at a hotel and was arrested.
Oh, my God.
How do you know you've picked the wrong guy to be a bodyguard for when you find yourself in a fist fight with that person?
Actually, you probably picked the right guy because he was probably trying to stop you from going to do something stupid.
When he spit on these people, did he use his own spit in that case, or did he use someone else?
He had a spitinator.
No, I'm not Randy Shaver. Pac-Man Jones picked the right bodyguard. I'm saying the bodyguard picked the wrong guy to guard.
Well, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Sure.
I don't think that last check is going to clear for the bodyguard.
Yeah.
No, likely not. Randy Shaver live from Savannah, Georgia this morning.
Yes, sir.
How do you like it?
It's okay.
How was that car ride from Florida to Savannah, Georgia? Any troubles?
There was a couple of delays, but nothing too bad.
All right.
So, yeah, all good.
Is today the day you get to tour around a little bit? And
Actually, we did a little bit yesterday. I think we're going to get on the road pretty quick today, just because we've decided that we're going to drive. You know, when that hurricane hit Asheville area,
yeah,
it wiped out a bunch of roads, and one of them was a important highway between North Carolina and Tennessee, and it just reopened a week ago, and it's only 2 lanes, and I've been doing some research looking at it going, nope, I don't want to go that way. That looks like it's going to be trouble. So we're going to end up driving through Atlanta, which I'm not happy about. But
yeah, as soon as I brought up the state of Georgia, you went from a happy tone to a slightly aggravated tone.
Yeah, I know.
And now I understand.
Kind of changed my plans a little bit, only because I don't want to get stuck in terrible traffic. So.
All right. Well, we hope you get out of there in one piece, and you'll be home this weekend. Folks are texting in back to pot smoking and drug testing. Plenty of folks are texted in. Again, we're at 651-989-9393. Pac-Man Jones got us talking about smoking marijuana cigarettes, as my dad would call them, left-handed cigarettes, and then drug testing. Quite a few people have texted in to say that marijuana smoking made them more confident on the playing field. Football, basketball, baseball.
Take away the nerves.
Hockey.
That makes sense.
Yes, takes the nerves away. A couple others texted in supporting your theory, Ashley, where you smoke a little geef before you work out. You get through it, and it's over, and you never had any time to think, oh, God, I'm working out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That was my biggest. Whenever I've tried exercise, I'm so quickly bored.
Yeah.
So that's what folks were saying. A little marijuana will help you blow past that. Now, on drug testing, I always like to tell the story about the derelict that I worked in a warehouse with. This guy was frightening looking. You know, we would get the temps. And I'm not saying all temps are squirrely, but we certainly had our fair share of squirrely, shady temps. One of them had been in and out of prison a couple times, blown up. He had that obvious I've been working out in prison body, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just frightening. The guy was frightening, so I was kind of running things at the warehouse at the time. I let him do whatever he wanted.
Absolutely.
I let him have first choice of what job he wanted every day. But he would ask around the warehouse, hey, man, can I borrow your piss? You know, I got a drug test coming up.
Borrow it.
Yeah. And I don't know if I always said no, you know. No, dude, I don't want to get mixed up in that. I don't know if anyone else at the warehouse actually borrowed them their urine. But someone asked him once at lunch break, this just sent a chill up my spine. Someone asked him once at lunch break, how have you passed some of these drug tests, that he's been doing for probation? And he said, sometimes I just, wring out my baby's diapers.
Oh, it's that guy? Oh.
Yeah, I've seen that in TV shows before.
Yep.
That's so sad. So sad.
I should have made my buddies do that back in college. Go find some baby diapers. I'm not giving you my clean urine.
How did you just went in a cup then?
Yeah. They had to bring it in. I didn't have to go in with them. They just had to submit it, So I do it at the apartment and hand it off to them.
I'm not trying to be gross or anything, but don't they isn't there a temperature thing? I thought people said, well, you had to go and put it in the microwave. I had to do this or that.
It was St. Cloud. I think things are a little bit different up there.
Josh, they have powdered urine you can buy and you just add water, like an old Lipton cup of soup.
That sounds like a prank waiting to happen.
I wonder if you have to make sure that the smell and everything is there.
Yeah.
Good question.
I don't know how detailed they get.
Oh, that would suck to be the person that has to smell test the pee.
We've mentioned this before, but they always threatened us with drug tests. Maybe not. They would give us a heads up. Hey, there's a random drug test coming up. If you need to make any lifestyle changes up until then. We've never had one. Never once.
No, it would they talked a big game, and I never took a squeege into a cup for anyone around here.
Never.
Well, I guess there was that one weekend up at Izadi's. But that was by request. Randy Shaver, have you passed any of the crack houses in Savannah, Georgia yet? Have you driven past the crack houses? That's a question from Bar Saw Jesus.
None that I've seen so far.
Are they known for that? Or is that...
According to Bar Saw, he says there's a lot of... Okay, Pac-Man Jones isn't the only old pro that's been speaking up lately on this and that. Barry Bonds, what was he doing? He was on a podcast called All the Smoke. Is that the Kevin Garnett podcast?
No.
Oh, okay. No. Barry Bonds was on a podcast called All the Smoke, and he more or less said, this Shohei Ohtani is cute and everything, but he'd never cut it back in my day.
The game has just changed. I mean, the game is way different than when I played. Ohtani is not going to hit 2 home runs without seeing one go right here. In my generation, I don't care what he does. He's not going to steal 2 bases without somebody decapitating his kneecap and slow him down, because it's a different game.
Like the kneecap off.
More or less what he's saying is back in Barry Bonds' playing days, once Shohei hit maybe 2 home runs in a row, they'd start throwing at his head. If he stole too many bases, they're what's the word they use in the business? They're running up the score. Someone's going to a hard slide into second. Someone's going to hurt him.
How many times did somebody throw at Barry Bonds' head? I don't remember.
I'll tell you what, it would have been an easy target.
Yeah, no doubt.
That man had a noggin on him, and still does.
The All the Smoke podcast, that's one with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Ohtani would have been just fine in that era of baseball.
Not the first.
Not only that, but Ohtani would have come up the next half inning and struck Bonds out.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
It's not the first old pro to tow the.
I don't
back in the day wagon around town.
Yeah, but I don't disagree with the comment about being thrown at.
Right.
I agree with that, but if you're saying that his skill level wouldn't translate, I totally disagree.
He doesn't say that. He is very complimentary of the skills that Shohei possesses.
And in what context? I mean, did he say it in the way that if you're up 10-2 and you're stealing second base?
Exactly.
Kind of what he's saying. Then I agree with that a little bit, but I can't understand what context he's using.
Absolutely, he would have been thrown at back in Bonds' day. Absolutely, he probably would have been cleated a couple of times, running the bases or something, just to be a dick. And, of course, back in the day, it was a goal at times. Hey, let's take out their number one guy in one way or another. But Shohei would have been fine back in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. And, of course, he could have been on steroids, too. So think of how much better of a hitter he would have been.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Before they moved
just ask
on.
Barry Bonds.
Yeah, exactly.
Before they moved on from the Ohtani conversation, Barry Bonds did offer one piece of advice for Shohei going forward. He says, stop pitching.
Yeah, that may happen, too. I know that he is ramping up to also pitch this year. my guess is that he will eventually just be a hitter. That's where he shines.
I wonder if they've ever considered using him as a closer because he's already in the game.
Well, I'm sure they've considered everything over there at the Los Angeles
And then you
Dodgers.
don't have to throw 140 pitches every fifth day.
Right.
Remember the stories about Barry Bonds when he was hired, I believe, to be the hitting coach for the Miami Marlins? I think maybe Derek Jeter hired him, and all Bonds would do is show up to practice and then go back in the clubhouse and sleep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go take a nap in a recliner.
Where's the hitting coach? Oh, I think I saw him go back in the clubhouse, and the sumbitch is out cold. He was just there to collect a friggin' check.
Yeah. I don't really take a lot of what Barry Bonds says to heart.
Okay, well then let me ask you this tough question. You're lost in the middle of nowhere. There's only two people to give you directions out. Pac-Man Jones and Barry Bonds.
I'll take Barry Bonds on that one.
You're going to take Barry Bonds' directions over Pac-Man.
I'm going to smoke weed with Pac-Man, and then I'm going to ask Barry for directions.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Okay.
I want nothing to do with Pac-Man.
I would imagine Pac-Man Jones would give you directions. You follow them, and then somehow, Josh, when you get there, Pac-Man Jones is there, and he hits you over the head. Somehow he's there. Didn't you just
give me directions he gives you are to a strip club?
Now, that wouldn't be bad.
Where Barry Bonds is at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, this sounds interesting to me. Does anyone watch a television channel called Vice Sports?
No.
Or is that a television channel? Vice Sports.
I've been on their website several times.
Okay, maybe it's an internet thing. I'm not familiar. You know what I found out last night? And we'll get to the hockey here in a minute. I don't have Channel 45 on my television setup.
Yeah, me either. That frustrated me.
What?
Last night.
I was looking all over for Channel 45 because I wanted to watch the high school hockey games. Me and the wife were finger banging the remote up and down. And
do you not have just normal cable?
No, I got some kind of internet set up.
You're too advanced.
That's why.
No Channel 45. But you know what? In its place, and this is just as good, I was in the mood to watch hockey. No Channel 45, but you know what I found, Josh, on another channel?
What'd you watch?
Young Blood, starring Rob Lowe.
Never seen it. My parents wouldn't let me watch it.
It's terrible.
Yeah, you've said that before.
Absolutely one of the worst sports movies or movies ever made.
I remember kids loved it in high school. They would talk about it all the time.
But since I was in the mood for hockey, I hung around for a little bit and watched Rob Lowe pretend like he ever had put on skates before accepting that role. Oh, my God, is that awful, except for that sex scene with the gal.
No. Yeah, that and
she looks good.
The hazing scene. That's why my parents would let me watch it.
They shaved his pubic hair off for him.
Yeah.
Oh, that was nice of them.
Yeah, that came out, I want to say, 1986. Someone
it was 86, yeah.
Okay. And I was a ninth grade kid, and I took hockey pretty seriously. And so did a lot of my buddies, you know. Not that we didn't have fun with the game, but we had an edge to us. We were 15, 16 years old, full of piss and vinegar and nowhere to put it. So when we went out on the ice, we were animals. And I remember we were playing in some kind of a spring league. And we were playing a team from somewhere else. And their uniform colors were red and white, and that's the uniform colors of Rob Lowe's fake hockey team in the movie Youngblood. And since it was spring hockey, you didn't need to have your uniforms all matching and everything. As long as, you know, one team had one color jersey on, the other team had the opposite, you were okay. So we're playing this red and white themed team, and one of the dudes on that team had a Youngblood jersey from the movie. And you should have seen how many violent runs we made at that kid, because that we hated that movie so much because it was such garbage.
Was anyone convincing on skates?
In the movie?
In the movie, yeah.
Oh, very few. Very few.
What about Rob Lowe?
Oh, like I said, he had never put skates on before in his entire life.
I mean, they couldn't even with camera tricks?
No, it's absolutely terrible.
Wasn't Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves in that movie?
Yeah, Patrick Swayze. I don't remember exactly how they looked on skates. I think Keanu Reeves was a goalie in the movie.
Oh, okay.
I don't think he has a line in the movie, but he just kind of sits there and looks like a young Keanu Reeves. But that kid should have never put on that Youngblood jersey. His parents were in tears by the end of that game.
Your hatred of the Mighty Ducks is well documented, Nick, but you shouldn't watch it for a lot of reasons, because I know it would just drive you crazy, but seeing Emilio Estevez on skates, and in the second one, they tried to portray him as making a comeback and being one step away from the NHL.
Stop it. I have seen bits and pieces of, what's the movie?
Mighty Ducks.
Mighty Ducks. And it's so frustrating because you see like a shot of the players gathered in a circle to talk game plan with the coach, like at practice, and not one person is holding a hockey stick the way any hockey player ever has. You know what I mean? They're holding it like you lean on a shovel. Like, that's not how you. So I get real nitpicky about that stuff. Vice Sports has a program coming up this spring called The Grudge. There'll be 12 episodes, half-hour long, and it examines some of the most famous feuds in modern sports. This might be pretty good stuff. They start with Shaquille O'Neal versus Kobe Bryant. They talk about the feud those gentlemen had. Any other come to mind for you? Randy Shaver, Brad Ryder, sports feuds? I'll see if they have an episode ready for you.
Well, is it with teammates? Is it kind of like the...
Not team, anything. Opposite teams, opposite team players. It could be opposite teams in general.
Well, the Lakers and Celtics.
They do not cover the Lakers and Celtics. Maybe that was too obvious for them. And maybe because it's been done to death. What did you say, Brad Ryder?
I just said Bird and Magic, so...
No, they don't, although that would be great. They go Roger Clemens, Mike Piazza.
Yeah, sure.
Brent Favre versus Karen.
Yeah.
This one, I've seen a couple documentaries on it, but I'll always fall in line and watch any documentary on the Colorado Avalanche versus the Detroit Red Wings from the mid-'90s. Because it was brutal. It was beyond control. And it was the hockey that I loved best. Just all out, I'll kill you before I let you take a Stanley Cup away from me type attitude. Bloody and violent, and that was the hockey that I loved most. Terrell Owens versus Donovan McNabb.
Kind of bored with both of those two.
Yeah.
See, I don't really remember the details behind that.
I don't either.
That's when you went to Dallas and... and he's doing like the sit-ups on the driveway.
I remember the sit-ups on the driveway, and I said, hey, he stole that gimmick from Josh.
He did a lot more than I can, though.
I might try.
How about Michael Jordan and Isaiah Thomas?
No.
Not on there.
But that would be a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Another one I've seen documentaries before, but I'd watch more of is Reggie Miller against the Knicks.
Love that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I hated the New York Knickerbockers so badly back then and loved what Reggie
John
did.
Starks.
Oh, yeah. Loved what Reggie did to them. Brooks Koepka and Bryson Datchabow. Datchabow.
Come on.
They are astrologists. I don't know who they are. Brooks Golf. Bryson Datchabow.
Datchabow.
People are texting in their ideas for like a rivalry show. Allen Iverson versus Practice.
Is there even a Minnesota one at all?
I don't see one so far, Randy Shaver.
No, but I'm just saying in general, if you sit and think.
Oh, is there a Minnesota one?
Is there really even a Minnesota one that yes, there is. Dan Gladden, Steve Lombardosi.
Well, you could do Kevin Garnett, Glenn Taylor.
Yeah.
Oh, easily.
That'd be a great one.
And of course, back to hockey again. I would touch myself endlessly for a North Stars Blackhawks rivalry documentary.
Kristen Leitner in the whole locker room.
Kristen Leitner.
I was just going to say that.
Loser, winner.
Yeah.
Boy, that's tough, though. We got some good answers there for Minnesota.
Probably some Vikings ones we're not thinking of.
Can't think of any. Twins, you mentioned Lombardosi and Gladden. Who are we missing? We got Wolves, Twins, Vikings. Who am I missing?
Is there any
Pigs.
hockey?
The Pigs.
How about the North Stars?
Well, I said North Stars, Blackhawks.
Yeah, but I'm thinking more player-wise.
Yeah,
I can't think of one.
No, those guys got along. There wasn't all that much money in the game to where you turned into an instant douchebag.
Everybody used to hate Gopher hockey.
Everybody used to hate Gopher hockey. You mean like a documentary on
St. Cloud State Gophers?
Oh, sure.
Yes. North Dakota Gophers.
Sure. Yeah, I was trying to come up with some kind of North Star drama. What came to mind, even though it wouldn't qualify for a documentary, was former North Star head coach Pierre Paget, who was just the most serious man that ever lived. Pierre Paget would be a stand-up comic's worst nightmare. He just looked serious and angry all the time. He didn't last long. Late 80s.
No.
Was he always angry, or was that just his face?
He didn't stick around long enough.
His face.
He didn't stick around long enough, Josh, for us to really get to know whether he was really that serious and angry.
Well, I thought of one based on, just a goofy one based on the story that Randy Shaver told us once before. What about Chuck Knobloch and a throw to first base?
Oh.
Throw to first base. They didn't get along for a while.
Chuck and his ability to fun. But that
what
didn't
was
happen
that story again, Randy?
What's that?
What was that story again? How did that go? It's just he just couldn't do it anymore.
Well, yeah, he got the yips, kind of like what happened to I want to say it was Steve Sachs that played for the Dodgers.
Yeah, it was.
Where they, for whatever reason, actually even Tim Laudner to some extent in throwing the ball back to the pitcher. I think maybe it wasn't Tim, but it was a Twins catcher, maybe Dave Engel, one of those guys. They just had a mental block.
Yeah.
And Knobloch had like a mental block.
But that didn't happen to him until after he left the Twins.
No, that was later to the Yankees.
That's why they moved him to left field.
Oh, he wasn't a Twin at the time?
No.
Okay.
No, he was out in left field with the infamous hot dog throwing contest at the Metrodome. Yeah, he was in left field at the time.
If you remember, ace left-hander drove me friggin' nuts. I hated this guy so much. Won a series with the Cubs. Friggin' John Lester. Oh, just saying his name out loud makes me want to just such an odd smash myself in the face with something. I hated him.
Such an odd athlete to have a grievance with.
He would not, towards the end of his career, he would not check a runner at first base because he couldn't do it.
He couldn't throw over to first.
Could not throw the ball from the mound to first base because mentally, but he could go out there and throw 8.5 innings of one-hit ball, but he could not throw the ball to first base.
As a left-hander, it was an easier throw to first base, but couldn't do it.
Right,
Yeah.
and I know maybe someone will catch me on this. I did just say 8.5 innings, which there are no 8 1/3, 8 2/3. I just realized that. But anyway,
I got a Minnesota one that's a little bit under the radar, and they made up toward the end. But flipping Kevin McHale.
Okay.
Yeah.
Had a little bit of a thing for a while.
Yeah.
Where
You're right.
That was a thing. They didn't like.
You're right.
Adrian Peterson versus good parenting. These are some messages from our listening audience.
That one got me.
How about Denny Green and the Vikings and just in general management?
They had their battles.
Yeah, they did.
Oh yeah.
Clem Haskins,
Roger Hedrick, and Denny Green. Yes.
Clem Haskins versus any jacket he ever wore. Oh, man.
Somebody said Stefan Veilleux versus Hams.
Stefan Veilleux versus local radio.
Yes.
So anyway, I got to go back to Pierre Paget real quick. He was this serious, scary, straight-faced coach who always looked so pissed off behind the bench. But I'll always remember the line from Neil Broughton, who played for Pierre. And someone asked him once what the guy was like to play for. And you got to remember, back in Broughton's days, they used wood sticks. And the line was, Paget had the new kids so nervous they'd squeeze the sap out of their sticks.
Yep.
I always thought that was a great line. Well, I'll see if we can... I'll see if I can find that friggin' television show, because some of that stuff might be good.
Oh, another kind of obscure one, Brad Childers and Percy Harvin. Those two did not get along.
Oh, yeah?
Percy Harvin threw a weight at Brad Childers in the weight room.
Or your Eskimo brother and any kicker.
Oh, God, he hated kickers.
Mike Zimmer hated kickers.
He just hated kickers. And he was not shy about it at all.
That was part of the reason why I came around to special teams being my favorite part of any NFL club. Because I was kind of rebelling against Zim being such a prick bag.
God, he was a jerk
to every kicker. You go out there and try it. I would have loved to have seen Zim out there swinging that little pin of his, little right leg. I wish I had a better Eskimo brother related to the National Football League. Oh, I do, actually. Now that I think of it. Mo Williams.
Oh, that's a pretty cool one.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool Eskimo brother. All right.
Yeah, we both kind of share that a little bit.
Mo Williams?
Not Mo.
Oh, Jesus, criminy. Josh, here we go. Let's compare. Have any of your Eskimo brothers ever, won an NBA championship?
Yes.
Okay. Have any of your Eskimo brothers ever won a Stanley Cup?
No.
Okay, I can ring the bell on that one, though. Heavyweight champion of the world?
Nope.
All right, I can. That's one for me.
That's impressive.
I'm Eskimo brothers with Larry Holmes.
Oh, sweet.
I'm kidding, of course. Jesus Christ.
What about the...
Larry Holmes of Open. I thought that was going to be an easy joke. Everyone said, are you really Eskimo brothers with Larry Holmes? Go ahead, Cubby.
Well, by the way, this is all the same woman. This made me Eskimo brothers.
Yeah.
What about the early 90s Seahawks offensive line? Are you Eskimo brothers?
Well, wait a minute. Early 90s?
Yeah.
Oh, if it was early 80s, then I would assume you're talking about Mike Tice.
No.
Early
I'm talking about the entire line.
I am not.
Yeah.
I am not Eskimo brothers for anyone who played in the entire NFC West in the early 90s.
Check that off.
Rams, 49ers, Seahawks. Who am I missing in the NFC West in the early 90s? No, none of Broncos. None of them.
I think we share a Gopher great, if I'm not mistaken.
You better write his name down.
Right.
Well, what sport are we talking?
Basketball.
You better write his name down.
Ooh.
Are you interested, Brad Ryder?
I kind of am.
Okay.
Because that was kind of the era that I was there.
Yeah. Does that mean you're Eskimo brothers with someone?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Go down the list, Brad.
Now, this was before he was a Gopher. This was in high school when she got at him.
Sure.
Yeah.
But he eventually suited up for the Golden Gophers. While Josh is sorting that out, because I'm interested, the Pigs were acting, now we can get to hockey. The Pigs were acting all like their hands were tied going up to the trade deadline, which is today. But, they made that deal for Gustav Nyquist, and season tickets were selling like a son of a bitch. Folks thought maybe that was it. Yesterday, they called the Boston Bruins and started dealing. They dealt away a couple of forwards that didn't spend a hell of a lot of time here. That Kustendinov guy and Jacob Lako, however the hell you say his name. They dealt those guys to the Bruins for a 27-year-old winger by the name of Justin Brazeau, I think is how you say his name. Big, tall, long-legged kid. Saw some highlights of him earlier this morning. Pretty good hands. Front of the net presence guy, a guy you can put out there on the power play. I liked what I saw. I really did. I liked what I saw from this kid. Played on the power play with the Boston Bruins. Not a lot of goals, but limited time on the ice, so he looks like he can play. I don't know, maybe I'm a sucker, but when I saw this kid's highlights, I thought, wow. Kind of remind for you old school hockey fans. For your old school hockey fans, he kind of reminded me of Keith Primo.
Oh, sure.
So anyway,
well, hopefully he can play because they gave up on the young kid that they drafted. What in the first round?
Lako.
No, the other one.
Kustendinov?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was.
I thought he was a first-round pick.
Oh.
Like 4 years ago.
Oh, I thought he was the guy we just got from Nashville. State of hockey over here, everybody. How you doing?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Kustendina? All right. Okay. I thought he was that guy they drug away from Nashville. Pigs are at Vancouver tonight. Then on Sunday, they host the Pittsburgh, what do they call their team again? I wrote Pirates, but that's not correct.
I think it was Penguins.
It's the Penguins.
Look up that Kustendinov. What was his backstory? Someone look that up for me.
Yeah, I just read it this morning. I'm pretty sure he was drafted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Golden Gopher Dudes hockey. Big Ten tournament now. Best of 3 starts tonight at home versus Notre Dame. Golden Gopher Gals are at home versus, it's up in Duluth, isn't it?
Yeah, somebody texted in and said they were going up there. I can't remember what their Jesus name was.
This is the WCHA Ladies Tournament. and they're playing, how do you call it, Ohio State up in Duluth. It's a one-and-done deal now. This isn't a best-of-3 thing as far as I know, like the dudes are getting involved in. By the way, I played beer league with a couple of guys that, back at the Golden Gopher men who are playing Notre Dame. I played beer league with a couple of guys who were Notre Dame Fighting Irish hockey players. And let me just tell you this. They did not act very religious.
I've heard that rumor.
They did not act very Catholic. If the stories they are telling me are true.
What was it? Their football team this year? When they were like all in a huddle and the captain was giving them like a pep talk, and people were throwing it around because he was cussing up a storm. And they're like, this doesn't seem very godlike.
No. Folks are telling me that Kustin Nadinov was a second-round pick in the year 20 and 20.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, who was the guy that they got from Nashville this year who had a funny last name?
I don't know.
All right. Boys State High School Hockey Tournament cut loose with the AA clubs yesterday.
Yeah.
The big schools, don't you know? Stillwater shutout Andover 3-rip. St. Thomas Academy beat Shakopee by a goal. Moorhead over Lakeville South 7-4. Edina squeezed by Rock and Rogers.
Overtime. How about that?
In overtime. I wish I would have seen it, but I don't have Channel 45. Don't have Channel 40.
Semifinal today. Semifinal Friday.
Here are the matchups on semifinal Friday, Randy Shaver, today and tonight at the XL Energy Center. Tweederville versus St. Cloud Cathedral. East Grand Forks versus Hibbing/Chisholm. St. Thomas Academy versus Stillwater. Edina Moorhead.
Great matchups.
Yeah.
That Rogers goalie made probably the best save you're ever going to see in that overtime before he gave up the goal.
Well, if I had Channel 45, I'd back you up on that.
There's got to be some place you can stream it.
There is. People were texting in like crazy.
It's all over the internet.
Yeah, I would think so. That would shock me.
I knew there was like an app or something, but I didn't need to watch high school hockey that badly.
I understand. There's too many apps. Too many apps, Dana.
More sports rivalries being texted into the program. Before I say this, because it's going to start something. It always does. The player I was confusing with Konstantin Dinanavivov was Vinny Hinostroza. Man, hockey can be difficult. That's who I was confused with. Josh, why haven't you written down the name of that supposed Golden Gopher Eskimo
Because I'm waiting for confirmation.
Confirmation.
Yes. I want to make sure I got the right one.
Here's another text on a great sports rivalry that could be documented someday. And this is the one where I knew as soon as I said it, we'd be going off on a tangent and we may never return. Alfred Anderson versus his shoe.
Well, you could say that about Herschel and his shoe.
Well, yeah, but that benefited him on that day. Ran right out of his shoe.
By the way, Jim Suhan wrote this morning about Jimmy Johnson and talked about that trade and how Jimmy Johnson absolutely screwed the Vikings. It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good.
By the way, one listener here, Carpet Jesus, finding out that Dana and I don't have Channel 45, so we can't watch the hockey tournament. He's offered to sell us both a cheater box.
I didn't know they still made those.
Those were big back in the day.
I had a cheater box. By damn, I did.
Oh, how much Spice Channel did you watch?
Too much.
All the Spice Channel.
All the pay-per-views, all the heavyweight, all the boxing matches, all the porno movies.
Yeah, we had a kid in elementary school that had one of those, and oh man, was that kid popular for a while when he had that box.
You guys remember the story where I fell asleep in front of the porno movie?
Yeah.
That was embarrassing.
You got a couple porno movie stories. I liked it when your wife was going to have a nice evening with a friend of hers and maybe put in a rom-com, but there was a porn in the VCR. And didn't you say it was very filthy as well?
It was a bad one. It was a bad one.
Your first wife, I should say.
Yes. I left a VHS movie in the, VCR. And it was just this hardcore...
Just disgusting.
Women soaked in lube type of a scene. I think they were in a bathtub together. So it was just horrible. It was on.
That sucks, man.
And they're trying to watch You've Got Mail.
Well, I remember what they were trying to watch. I left this VHS tape hanging out the VCR. I thought I had taken it and put it back in my hiding place, which was in the trunk of Josh's Honda Civic. But I did not. She had her friend over because they liked to record the show Friends. Never saw it, by the way.
Very innocent.
So when she pushed the tape in to hit, she thought her friend's VHS tape was hanging out the VCR. So here comes her girlfriend over to the living room, push the tape into the machine, hit record, because Friends is going to begin. Well, it wouldn't record because of, you know how that works when you had a real...
Yeah.
So then she took a closer look, and it was called, Lube NATO Part 2 or something. And they pushed it in, they hit play, and when I got home from the bar that night, what is this that you're watching? And then you leave it in the VCR.
Yeah,
and I said, what? You never saw Lube NATO 1?
How do you walk yourself back from that?
How do you watch the second one without the first one?
Right. I'll tell you how I walked it back.
The plot.
I said, I'm sorry, I left it in the VCR. I thought I had taken it out, But, don't bust my chops about watching porno movies. I said, I'm a 26-year-old guy. What the hell do you think I do when no one's around?
I forgot. Did she know that you watched that, or was this all?
Everybody knew that I watched that.
All right, so she was all right with it.
The other time was same wife.
This poor woman. Twice.
This is when we got the Spice Channel on the Cheater Box. And as Josh knows, and I've mentioned it many times, I know it makes me sound like a budding serial killer, but I don't really tune into porno movies much anymore at all. I don't know. It's just...
You don't?
Not really, no.
Because
I don't know.
You got mad at me not too long ago when I said that Ashley was the most prolific porn watcher I've ever met.
Well, yeah, but we're talking career totals here, dude.
I didn't know we were... Okay, yeah, I've never seen that look of disappointment towards me on your face.
I was upset.
I don't either anymore, really.
Okay. She may be the current czar, sensei, whatever, of porno. But if we're talking career, anyway, we had the...
She is Shohei Ohtani and Nick is Barry Bonds.
Right. Different eras.
Yeah.
So we had the Cheater Box, we had the Spice Channel, and as Josh knows, I am perfectly and completely content with watching a porno movie and just watching.
Yeah, you'll watch the whole thing.
In the past, people will say, well, we know what you're doing. No, you don't, actually, because I don't mind just watching a porno movie. So that's what I was doing in front of the television, lying on the couch one day, and fully clothed, of course. And my wife comes downstairs and says, my girlfriend is coming over to spend the weekend. I got to go, but just listen for the doorbell because she's going to get here before I come back. And I said, okay, bye. Fall asleep on the couch with the porno movie blaring on the Cheater Box, and I'm awoken by my wife at the time's girlfriend tapping me on the shoulder saying, I'm here.
Why does she always have friends with her?
Right. She's very popular, and it worked against me.
Well, your current wife did send me a photo of all the porn mags you had in your basement when you guys first got married.
Mm-hmm.
Is that gone now?
They're not even legit. They're Playboys.
Oh, that's that soft stuff.
Yeah.
Are they gone?
SAWFT. No, they're not gone.
Oh, you kept them.
I'm not Brad.
Those are collectibles.
She made it seem like they were going to be gone.
Give me a friggin' break. She talks a big game. I'm not Brad. I can stand up for myself once in a while. We're referring to Brad, a guy who works down the hall here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's different Brad. Did you ask me a question, Ashley? I'm sorry. I'm ranting about adult movies.
I can't remember now.
Okay. Wolves at Miami, and then they host San Antonio on Sunday. No Wembayamba. There was other football stuff we didn't get to. ESPN predicts the Vikings will sign quarterback Carson Wentz in free agency.
What?
Oh, my God.
What the hell for? Is he going to drive the team bus or something?
You got Daniel Jones. Yeah. What do you need him for?
Well, because Daniel Jones might go play for Green Bay or something. I don't know. I just don't friggin' know. All right, boys. Brad Ryder, you have a great weekend right here in town, and hopefully everything turns out wonderful. And we thank you for your time. Randy Shaver, be safe in your travels.
Yep. We'll talk to you on Monday.
Wrap with both of you on Monday. We got to take a break. We'll be back in a minute.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show.
Hey, you beautiful podcast listeners. Seriously, you folks are the best. We don't tell you that enough, but you are. And we couldn't do this without you, and we couldn't have a podcast if it weren't for our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Right now, you can save up to $7,500 on a mini-split ductless system or a high-efficiency heat pump combo with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. I know those are some fancy terms, but what it really means is they're going to make sure you're comfortable in your own house. And get this, they even take care of that rebate paperwork for you. Visit standardheating.com to lock in your deal and enjoy the show. And seriously, you guys are the best.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like aloe or skins, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skins uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
69. This show sucks. Who are you, fart knockers?
93X.
There's not even a chance to catch our breath around here. Not really a chance to catch our breath. We welcome you back to the radio show. It's Friday. Nothing but love for each and every damn last one of you. Folks been texting in now. Always texting in, 651-989-9393, and we dig it. Oh, we were talking about I've made some mistakes in my day involving porno movies. Once I left one in the VCR. Ex-wife found it. Once I passed out cold in front of the TV with a porno playing, and her best friend. I was well aware of the fact that her best friend was coming over to spend the weekend. Fell asleep in front of the TV, fully clothed.
I've never asked, was this the same friend, both instances?
No.
A different?
No.
That's even worse. Sorry.
Yeah, the first time I left the porno in the VCR, my wife had a friend with her, and they found it. The time I passed out on the couch in front of the porno movie, cheater box type setup, Spice Channel, friend comes over, wakes me up as I'm asleep in front of a raging group sex scene. Different friend. Those were two different girlfriends who I made to be terribly uncomfortable.
Did the in the second story, the one that tapped you on the shoulder, did she?
She was laughing her ass off.
Oh, okay. So she had a good sense of humor.
She was laughing her ass off. So on that subject, people have been texting in. They've effed up too. Jeep Jesus said he left a porn tape in the VCR in his bedroom. He and his wife's bedroom. Kids came running in to the parents' bedroom on a Saturday morning like little kids like to do. Wake up, Mommy and Daddy. So annoying. And the children, just by habit, reached up and turned on the television.
Oh, no.
And he said, I've never moved so fast in the morning in my entire life.
I'll bet.
Than to get to that TV and shut the sumbitch off. I'm sorry about your problems, Jeep Jesus.
Yeah, that sucks.
But you probably taught yourself, hey, I'm a pretty good athlete. Fresh out of bed.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of folks can't
Just bowling the kids over on the way there.
Yes, shoving them out of the way. I also mentioned in our sports report, unfortunately, I don't have Channel 45 on my current television setup, so I've been unable to watch the boys' high school hockey tournament so far. I've gotten some great advice from our listeners. Go buy an antenna. There's an app I can download. I'll ask the wife what I'm allowed to do on that. One listener texted in and said, this doesn't make any sense. How do you not have Channel 45? How do you watch the show Last Man Standing?
Yeah, it's your favorite show with your favorite actor.
Dean.
No.
You'll get there.
Tom Bosley.
He is a great actor, or
Got
was
the
a great
T,
actor.
right?
Tom Bosley as the lead character in Last Man Standing.
Whose name is... You've never watched the show.
A lot of times we talk about reports, research, studies we do on this program because there's such a wide variety of such. You want to hear the dumbest? This is the dumbest you'll hear probably until next week. Research shows that the hotter a woman is, the more oral sex she receives.
Get right out of town.
Never would have guessed.
I'm glad we did that.
There's
study
no
to
way
figure
that's
that
the
mystery
same
out.
for men either.
Research, Josh.
Yeah.
You're right. That's the absolute opposite for men. No way a hotter guy gets more dome than an average-looking guy.
No way.
Research shows the hotter a woman is, the more oral sex she receives. Well, not if I'm around, I'll tell you that. Yuck.
Hater.
I don't get that stance.
You're a hater. Really, they sat down and researched this.
It's ridiculous.
That's so... There's nobody going, oh my goodness, I never would have known.
Scientist jaws just dropping. What?
Now listen to this. I mean, I don't even understand what I'm talking about in the least bit. This behavior, but that's the way they word it here. Research shows that dudes who view their women as highly attractive spend more time performing oral sex upon them. This behavior, they call it, is thought to be linked to something called sperm competition. Is that on the Ocho?
No, you can't watch that one.
This behavior is thought to be linked to sperm competition, where men aim to ensure their genetic legacy by satisfying their partners, potentially reducing the likelihood of infidelity. I have no idea what I've just said to you.
Oh, although I have seen a sperm competition.
I just wanted to say that out loud. You've seen a sperm competition.
Yeah, and a lot of people did. A Super Bowl commercial promoting, I think, Formula One. They were talking about...
How did you say that again? Formula One?
Formula One.
Yes, Formula One.
There's they're promoting a particular racer, young stud, and I'm sorry, I don't know, I don't watch it, so I don't know a lot about it.
But nobody watches it.
In the commercial, they're promoting this guy, and they're talking about he's been fast his whole life, and they kind of start from where he's at, and then go all the way back to when he was a sperm, beating the other sperm team.
Yeah, that's a goofy commercial.
I missed that one.
Oh, that got me. I was shocked that they had that on there, but yeah, so I have seen one sperm competition.
Ashley, women involved in this research, this study, said the ones whose husbands will go down skis
Yep.
at the drop of a hat, those women said they are happier in their relationship.
Definitely.
Ah.
Yeah. It kind of goes without saying, right?
Oh, I hope nobody was just taking a sip of coffee when that got announced.
And when these women were asked, well, okay, you're happy because the guy's always got a face full of you down there. The women were asked, do you give a little of that back? And they said, we'll see. I said, well, it depends on how he behaves.
My wife was having a conversation with a female friend, and the quote that I'll never forget when they were discussing this topic is when the female friend says, oh, gross. Maybe on our anniversary. That was her response to that topic.
Oh,
that's friggin' wrong. That's friggin' wrong.
Maybe on our anniversary.
And, we've been talking about porn a little bit, this and that. Now here we are talking about oral sex and the benefits thereof in a relationship, specifically man on woman, oral action. I'm no prude, but I have to admit, and I think you're with me on this, Josh. When anyone ever talks about the 69 position, and then there's always got to be one person who says, dinner for two.
Yeah.
I want to vomit, and I want to physically hurt that person. But I don't,
gross.
because I have self-control. But I want to hurt them.
I'm trying to remember if it was you that told me or a lesser friend. Their wife or girlfriend they turned on the seat heater. I don't even know if I should say.
I already know.
Was that you that told me
No,
that?
I didn't tell you that story. I already know.
Okay.
Oh, I don't like that.
Is that clear enough where this
Yes.
is headed?
Yeah.
Where nobody's going to be like, well, you got to finish the story. Okay, you get it?
The story begins.
It's related to what Nick just said.
Yes.
She turns the seat heater on and she's warming up something.
Terrible.
Dude, that's just gross.
Terrible.
I agree. And I
is
like
gross.
the act, but that disgusts me.
All right.
Warming things up.
Warming up dinner, she said.
Dana, help us out here.
Yes.
Because you're the only clown that spent your entire summer in front of the television watching Jackass. Mm-hmm. I avoided those effing guys like the effing plague. Someone says here that texted in, Jackass had they had a sperm count competition. Do you remember that episode?
I do, vaguely, yeah. It wasn't one of their more well-known things, but I do remember that they all, submitted samples.
Let me tell you something.
Who had the best swimmers.
Okay, they submitted samples. If a sperm count competition was the Daytona 500, I have a feeling Josh and I are at the back of the pack.
Yeah, we're not going to qualify.
We barely qualified.
So too much information for you probably, but when I had mine tested for infertility issues, we're trying to figure out what's going on. They told me, well, there's about 4 things we grade sperm on, and you failed all 4. Everything was wrong. There wasn't one thing that can say, well, this is good, but everything else is bad. Every single thing was wrong.
Ouch, that's going to hurt a little.
What was your reaction to that? I mean,
Well, you're disappointed, obviously, and I got to be honest. I felt like, well, I guess I'm just not enough of a man to produce good stuff.
Did you feel like less of a man?
I definitely did. Yeah.
You shouldn't feel like less of a friggin' man.
Did you feel like you're like, oh, man, all those times I spent worrying?
Yes, and Nick and I have had that conversation before because both of us, we both got bad coolant.
Yes.
And both of us, there was nights where you're like, oh, God, why? I'm so stupid. Why?
There isn't a chance in hell that I have healthy sperm. Absolutely zero chance in hell, or else my life would have been completely different. But let me ask you this now. When you were told there are 4 different categories
ways
that make for quality spuzz, and you were told all 4 of them, you had none of them. You were told
it was all bad.
All bad.
And I didn't know there was, I thought there was just the one, how much you make. I didn't know there was other things about it.
Were there then foods or exercises or anything like that they recommended that could, if you have bad, can it be improved?
Yes, it can.
You can work. What worse did you end up doing? Kegels or eating nothing but oysters or something like that?
No, so I ate a little better.
Yeah.
I never drank or smoked. They said if you do that, give that up.
Yeah.
They like things like wearing looser fitting undie pants, which I do, and then
undie pants,
which I already do.
He said, "Did you catch that, Ashley?"
Yep, it's cute.
It wasn't the low sperm count, Josh, that made you less of a man. It's when you say things like undie pants.
Oh, it is?
Yes, or toot.
Toot. Well,
yes.
That is flatulence.
Right.
Breaking wind. So they also, at the time I rode a motorcycle, they said, "Why don't you stop that for a little bit?"
Oh. The rattle of the engine or the vibration on your testicles and things like that. Is that what they mentioned?
Yeah. And then you remember I used to take like a hammer or a screwdriver to it. I would just kind of pound on it.
Yes, you would.
I hate it.
You would punish it. You were taught to hate it by your parents.
So I had to stop doing that.
So then, did you do those things and see any improvement, or was all that effort for naught?
Well, the last thing they did is I had urgery.
Because you had like a tangled wire in there.
Yeah, it's called a varicocele.
And didn't you once have to go see a dentist because there was a tooth in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a true story. So you had surgery.
Yep, and that made it work enough for in vitro work, but the regular way wouldn't have worked.
And you've mentioned before that despite all of what you just said, you had it easy compared to how some other couples.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a terrible, terrible thing to go through. And so, yes.
Fun for us to bust your chops about
certainly, it. Certainly. And I know there's people in pain who are in that same situation. I know that was very, very difficult. We lucked out. We were able to have our son.
More importantly, who is he?
Your godson.
My godson. Oh, man. Well, the text machine's lighting up. I'll tell you what. You talk to Dr. Andrea or you talk sperm, and our text machine goes crazy.
They just keep coming, you might say.
Yeah, people, other guys talking about having their mud tested and the results thereof. One individual says specifically the heat from your motorcycle engine.
Yeah.
Is what can mess up.
I should have mentioned heat, yes.
Your gear.
That's one of the things that he told me.
Yeah. Isn't it like also like putting your laptop on your lap?
He didn't mention that specifically, but that would qualify, I'd imagine.
If that's true, then I'm with you and Nick.
You got nothing?
If my laptop's always near me, or my phone, or my Nintendo Switch, I always have some type of electrical device near me.
I don't appreciate the joke that I received via text from Wisco Maple Syrup Jesus about a man with a high sperm count. No way I'm saying that on the radio. When my sperm... Listen to this. This is 64C10 Jesus. When I did my sperm tests for infertility, my numbers were well above average, and he was also complimented on the overall volume. He's a regular Peter North over there. Complimented on the overall volume. Boy, you really let one give way there, son. That's impressive. Fascinating. Josh.
Yes.
Don't feel bad about your low sperm count. And not more than one listener has texted in to make you try to feel better about your overall sperm count because you've got those calves.
That's how I landed the
you
wife.
Thick, muscular calves, and that's what draws in.
That. Yes.
That's what draws in all the hot mamas. We're about done, skis. It's been a hell of a week around here, but I knew we could do it. Like Josh says, his favorite thing about Friday is that every minute that goes by, we're one step closer to Monday.
We're even an hour short this weekend, which is a little more exciting.
Dude, I forgot.
Come back sooner on Monday.
Daylight shaving time. There'll be less weekend than normal. Next thing you know, it'll be Monday morning, and I'm pulling on my one-legged pants, and I'm getting in my car, and as usual, I'm crying while driving into work. We'll leave you with this. Have you heard about the one-legged pants?
I have. I'm going to be wearing shorts on Monday. I've decided I'm going to come in here in shorts. You guys talked about my calves. I thought I'm being a little selfish wearing jeans.
Yeah, it's been rude. We talked about it without you.
But no one-legged pants. I'm going to pass on that.
Apparently, this is a growing fashion trend. One-legged pants. So one of your legs is covered in a regular pant leg, and the other is mostly exposed as if you're wearing a mini skirt or short shorts.
And they're crazy expensive, and that's what makes them popular, right?
Right.
I've always thought, like, if these were reasonably priced for the average person, nobody would buy them.
What's the price tag?
Like, I thought it was like $440. Something ridiculous.
Yep, you're right.
You're right. That's what makes it interesting. That's what draws in, the fancy schmancy people, and then they go online, and they're an influencer, and they wear the one-legged pants, and next thing you know, every 10th grader in America is wearing one-legged pants.
I actually had a tax lady tell me once that the most successful clients she has are the ones that way overcharge because people assume, well, shoot, if they're so much more expensive, they must be the best one.
We're suckers,
and
man.
That wasn't, I kind of fall for that sometimes too, right? But you think, well, they must be wonderful that they cost that much.
We are suckers, and I'm including myself. I mean, I can't think of a specific product, but I've certainly been shopping online for items and thought. Well, okay, I'll give you an example.
Name brand sometimes.
Well, I'll give you an example. A few years ago, I bought a billiard table, and I was suspicious of the cheap ones. Well, that one can't be worth. And of course, I'm not patient or thorough enough to do a lot of real serious research. I just assume, well, that one is so dirt cheap it must be garbage. So I'm shifting my focus onto the more expensive one.
Probably 9 times out of 10 that's true.
Right.
But you know,
Yeah, I think with pool tables that might be true.
I know, but I can't be sure because I skipped over some of the cheap ones. I might have been able to get a better deal on a table of similar quality, but you're right. People get drawn into, well, it costs more, it must be that much better.
We have silverware and plates and bowls and stuff that we got at the dollar store.
The best place to get dishware.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we get compliments all the time. They look expensive. They're $1 a piece. So, I mean, it was...
Really?
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And, you know, normally, I never would have guessed that. We bought a bunch thinking, well, we'll just have this we'll and once it falls apart, we've had it forever.
All right, one-legged pants are the new thing, at least for the next, handful of hours until...
Yeah, they look pretty stupid.
People have lost scissors, I guess.
That's a good point. You could make your own.
Yeah.
Why didn't that dawn on me?
That didn't dawn on me either.
When we were kids, when your jeans went to hell, what did you turn them into?
Shorts.
Jean shorts. One leg is covered with like a regular pant leg. The other is cut off. It looks like you're wearing a mini skirt or shorts. They're selling out everywhere online. And it says here there is some sense in the world. There's a viral video of a lady making fun of her partner's one-legged pants. And that makes me think, Josh, do you remember one of the greatest videos in the history of YouTube? Skinny jeans. Have they come and gone now? I don't pay very
They're coming back.
They're coming back. So
Yes.
they went away?
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
Really?
I just read an article the other day saying they're on their way back.
That, in my opinion, was the worst look ever.
You just don't like the high-rise ones, though.
Well, wait a minute.
Oh,
now.
I think the ones are worse that hang off your butt because you can't fit them over your butt.
The high-rise jeans, women pulling their jeans up to their armpits.
Yeah.
Also a terrible look. But the skinny jeans, specifically dudes.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
Women, in my opinion, look good in damn near everything, although I am critical of the high-rise up to your armpits. I didn't get that. Why are you trying to look like a soccer mom from 1984? But
They're
anyway,
painful.
Did you find some discomfort?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Are they still popular, the wearing them that high?
I think it's slowly dwindling
Coming
out.
down.
Yeah, I think people are liking the low-rise jeans.
Oh, I loved it when the drawers were hanging out the back. Anyway, the skinny jeans craze, specifically dudes, it looked so friggin' stupid. And Josh, do you remember the video that went around social media of like a 16-year-old kid who had just gone out to the store and bought himself some skinny jeans? His dad sees him in these pants and turns on his cell phone to record it and just rips his son to shreds over how silly he looks in those skinny jeans.
Turn around. Slowly. Keep your hands up so you can see how you look. Turn around. Keep turning. It look like you stole a midget pants. Big as you is. How short them pants look. And they up under your behind. And how skinny they are. You can't even pull them up. Try to pull them up. Girls don't even wear their pants that tight. Pull them up. I bet your sister can't even fit them pants. Bend down. Squat down. No. Squat down. Squat all the way down. Turn sideways. Squat down. Squat down some more. You can't even do it. That's ridiculous. Big as you is, you about to be 16. Looking like you had a 10-year-old pair of pants on. I know your nuts hurt. Who's laughing? Get your behind up there and
Did you catch that part?
You about to be 16.
Right here.
Looking like you had a 10-year-old pair of pants on. I know your nuts hurt.
Yeah.
Who's laughing?
The best is his siblings are laughing their ass
Oh,
off in
yeah.
the background.
His younger brothers and sisters are just spectators laughing as Dad lights him up.
I know your nuts hurt.
That's great. Was there any? I'm just checking to see if there's any more information here on one-legged jeans.
I think I'm going to skip that one, too.
They look absolutely ridiculous.
Oh,
I would, if my wife had these, I wouldn't walk out of the house with her. I can't even imagine.
Here's a listener who says, why was I thinking you'd put both legs, human, the body part legs, Why was I thinking you'd put both of your legs into one leg of the pants? Don't worry about it, female version of Nick Jesus. I was thinking, when I first read it, I was thinking the same thing.
When I saw the headline, I thought it as well.
So it's like a damn... I
was thinking, that's a skirt.
Yeah.
This is a long jean skirt.
And you hop your way around town.
I thought that exact same thing when I saw the headline.
I was thinking the same damn thing. We got to pull the plug on this operation.
Knows everything about nothing. Jesus checked in on the Luther Bloomington Kia text line to send his best to his beautiful baby doll down in Florida for 38 days to take care of her dad. Shout out to all the Snowcross workers and ERX workers. Happy birthday to Hazel, a.k.a. Hazel Bussin, turning the big 09 today from Dad Janelle Klein's side piece, Jesus. Varner Heating Jesus sent in a shout out to this morning to his smoking hot wife, Sleep Center medical assistant, Jesus. Aunt Edwards is better than Curry Jesus. Wanted to wish Corey the Corn Dog Jesus a big happy 40th
Corey
birthday.
the Corn Dog.
Yep. Shout out to Dante the Corgi. It's his golden birthday today. Happy birthday, Dante.
That's adorable.
Happy birthday to Wendy on Sunday from your sister Christina. And don't forget, set the clocks ahead Sunday morning and have a great weekend.
Hey, you beautiful podcast listeners. Seriously, you folks are the best. We don't tell you that enough, but you are. And we couldn't do this without you, and we couldn't have a podcast if it weren't for our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Right now, you can save up to $7,500 on a mini-split ductless system or a high-efficiency heat pump combo with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. I know those are some fancy terms, but what it really means is they're going to make sure you're comfortable in your own house. And get this, they even take care of that rebate paperwork for you. Visit standardheating.com to lock in your deal and enjoy the show. And seriously, you guys are the best.